a lot of buzz because everybody's getting ready for the conventions. Then it's going to be San Diego. Then Game On convention. Oh, I think they already had it. I don't know. I know I got to check my date. Then Tucson and all the rest of the stuff before the holidays and the end of the year.
Right on.
Yep.
Very good. Hello and welcome to the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. My name is Bill Kelly. I am Hornswoggle the Great, and also with me I have...
Car guy, automotive detective, savior of all pedestrians, protector of anything geek, and a full-time replicant.
And Rob the Blacksmith. That's it. Just Rob.
You're going light this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got a full-bodied cigar, so I've got a balance.
Oh. Those
Awesome.
are always good. I didn't even look up what... I try to be consistent with that whole days of the year thing, but I went back and watched some older episodes, and dude, it's National Paper Airplane Day. That's what I was excited about. I forgot. Cheese rolling in Gloucester. World Dracula Day. National Blueberry Cheesecake Day. Sign me up. And my favorite, World Redhead Day.
Oh, definitely. A big star for you on that one. Oh,
No. Anyway.
it should be a month. Why give it a day?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. What's
They
the
get
other
2
Red Day?
days. Yeah.
The year of the ginger snaps.
What's that?
So you call it the year of the ginger snaps?
Oh, I hope so.
Ginger snaps, yep. Sounds like something you could eat.
Anyway, on with the
Family
show.
friendly.
You were saying, Guy, it's a big week. There's a lot of news, a lot of hubbub, a lot of hullabaloo.
Yeah. Well, it's because we're going to the comic convention because we have Phoenix Fan Fusion coming on within this weekend or the next weekend, coming back after Memorial Day. So there's a bunch of things happening in the news and local and stuff with people getting their costumes ready and so forth. And also interesting things that happen in the media. Like, Rob, you may get your wish, because from what the rumor mill is talking to, we might actually possibly get a Rune King Thor. Because Thor's coming out, it's coming up onto it. And also, there's a reason why, if you heard in the news, that they moved the 2 big productions for Marvel. The Russo brothers have moved Doomsday and also Secret Wars back about 6 or 7 months. The reason why was a lot of people were complaining about the new Spider-Man was going to come out almost consecutively with Doomsday, and they were talking about what was going on with Sony. Why was Spider-Man not with Doomsday or whatever? Nobody could figure out what was the contradiction with the timing. Well, today just broke out that Mark Ruffalo is joining Spider-Man, because in the contract with Tom Holland, that one of the big Avengers has to be in the Spider-Man movies. Well, the first one they had Robert Downey Jr., the second one they had Benedict Cumberbatch. Now they're gonna have Mark Ruffalo. And what they're talking about, what they broke out just recently today, is that they're having a practical stunt in the movie, a big battle scene. They're not saying whether it's with the Hulk, but the Hulk is going to be in the movie throughout. If Bruce Banner's in there, they can expect the Hulk, so they could have it in there. So because of this, they set back Doomsday, because now Spider-Man, instead of just the Fantastic Four, is going to give you backstory for Doctor Doom. It's setting up the thing on it. Because everybody was complaining, well, you get Fantastic Four, then you get Doomsday, there's no time to breathe. You got to go right into the story a little bit. And the Spider-Man was supposed to be taking place at the same time as Doomsday, and everybody thought that was kind of weird. But I think it's going to wind up being a prequel before Doomsday.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, we got to see what happens with it. And with that is, they brought everything back on it, that they're announcing other people with it, that now it might become 3 movies. So Secret Wars might be broken up to 2 movies for Secret Wars. Remember, these are the Russo brothers, and they're trying to fix what everybody in the old movies with Infinity War and with Endgame, everybody didn't like the Russo brothers because they kind of nerfed the Hulk. In order to make the story work, Captain America and all the story work, they nerfed 2 people, Captain Marvel, and they definitely nerfed Hulk. Well, they're trying to make up for that by bringing back, supposedly, in these movies, for Secret Wars, the Savage Hulk, what Hulk was in the first movie. Because now you get the mild-mannered one, and this might be the catalyst with Spider-Man. Yeah.
Well, like all of the main characters, they go through periods. Like people. You know, hey, I'm into this for a while. Same thing with comic book heroes.
Yeah. I think what they're doing is they're trying to fix what they messed up in the earlier movies in this last space after the Russo brothers left. And I think they're bringing the Hulk back full circle because they're finishing up Thor, making him room, going to make him the All-Father, and they're going to set him up. And I think they're going to set up because in order to beat Doom or God Emperor Doom or whoever that they're putting up with, they have to level up the Hulk and make it a threat for the greater threat on it. In order to do that, you got to get Bruce Banner back into the Savage Hulk as it is.
True.
So they're doing a lot of working right now. And also, too, what the rumor is, that with James Gunn's Superman, a lot of people are interested more in the Superman that is taken away from the Fantastic Four. And honestly, what they think is because they're cutting down Pedro Pascal's part of Reed Richards, because they don't think that the Fantastic Four, anybody really cares about it right now. They're more on James Gunn's Superman. The talk is James Gunn's Superman, and it's coming out the same as Fantastic Four. Nobody's Googling, you don't hear nothing too much about it. And they were supposed to be introducing it. But because of what's going on, they're reshooting the ending of the movie because they already had test screenings up and it's supposed to be coming out in a few months. That they didn't like it, that they're changing it because of the bequest of the Russo brothers. So they're changing it a little bit, saying, they don't think Pedro Pascal or the Fantastic Four has the pull to carry Marvel through. So they're looking for an OG actor or somebody with the original one, like Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, because they're really the only ones left, to carry them through, to give them the validity, to introduce the other heroes and the other true new Avengers that are coming up.
That's a shame, too. And again, this is where it backfired, where you needed to spoon feed the Marvel universe to your common man. You don't need to do that to DC. It's a lot more primary. You're Superman. Be in the JLA. Fight evil. Do the thing. So it's very basic. I shouldn't say that. It gets complicated later, but in the beginning it's very basic. Where all of the Marvel stories are a complex club sandwich of intrigue and that's why my suggestion of you should have started it with Marvel Team Up and literally called it Marvel Team Up and maybe started it on Netflix or one of the other channels. They were on that path with Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and the Defenders and the Punisher. That was kind of already happening, much like Arrow and Flash, and the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are different because they're like the FBI, so they're protecting the country for mutants and threats that they don't know where they're. Are these guys a psycho? Which they from the few, I haven't read a lot of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comics, but from the few comics I read, they did a really good job with the show. That's kind of how it is. It was super accelerated. That comic starts in the 60s. But for the... Go ahead.
Well, you'd be happy to know that it's already official that Jessica Jones is coming back, and actually the actors from Luke Cage...
Really?
They're trying to get contracts and working time, yeah.
Hot,
And Ray
hot
Finn,
Kristen Stewart is going to be Jessica Jones again. Oh,
Kristen Stewart,
she's
all the
so
original
yummy.
actors.
Sorry. Let's have a
Well-
Kristen Stewart moment.
Well,
Okay.
the Russo brothers have set in motion, like you were saying,
Yeah.
because they were getting to something big. They were something really big, and Marvel wants the rights and the access of characters to join up if they need them in Secret Wars, because they've been talking about Cox, his Daredevil, showing up in the movie. So they might bring them. Charlie Cox, yeah.
English
so
guys play the best American superhero.
yeah. So in order to facilitate that, they have to bring him in. Punisher's getting a limited series, and they're fixing. This is how serious it is. In the comic books, they fixed the Punisher, so now they made Frank Castle have the skull logo. He is back in form.
Good.
Like the Punisher. None of this hand stuff, none of this magic stuff, none of this sword. That was retcon out.
Good.
So Marvel's correcting kind of the weird stuff that they were doing,
Yeah.
and they're trying to build up for a big thing going on. And I can see what they're doing because you put them in the show. Marvel has the right in their definition of the characters there that they can use in the movie. So those Daredevil characters, Punisher's already signed a contract to do that show and some other stuff. So more likely he will be in the movie. Charlie Cox will be in the movie. Yeah. And Christian Red and the other actors may show up in the actual, whether it be a small cameo or portion or something in it, in Secret Wars. So they're gearing up for more stuff with it. So they're facilitating that by bringing them into the fold, so to speak, by actually updating their characters. And I think, because with Kevin Feige, he doesn't want DC to win. And what happens is...
Oh, my God, that's the worst way to look at it. But go ahead.
That's the worst way to look. But the only reason why I'm saying that, I'm going by fact of what he did. Remember when Batman versus Superman, and Kevin Feige says, no, we're going to do Civil War. And they brought Captain America versus Iron Man, because he heard what DC was doing. Well, he heard what James Gunn was doing. So I think he's gearing up for something as a Trump, because after this is Supergirl. Yeah. And more movies coming out from James Gunn. He's going to roll out his universe real soon.
This is making superheroes fight. This is a stupid idea. Because, well, the whole concept of you can't let DC win. Dude, it's free enterprise. Just enjoy all the stories. There's no winning. Oh, we have to get more ticket sales than write a really good story?
Well, yeah, because the thing is, it's the timing. Everything is timing. And the funny thing about it was...
You're 100% right on all of this, guy. I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of that mindset.
Of them, yeah. I totally get it, because you got to look at it in... When the Fantastic Four did their actual official trailer with the Silver Smurfette, as they called it, people ridiculed it. People ridiculed a little bit of Superman, but it got more clicks, it got more reviews, it outshined it. Even with the other stuff in the test screenings, it's pulling more traction on Google and stuff on it.
That's not
so
fair. Guys will just click on that just to see silver boobs.
Silver boobs, but still, it is drawing more. It's drawing more attention than Fantastic Four. So they're looking at why it's going on. So then all of a sudden they moved the movies over. They're jockeying, because none of this was the last time when we talked was in motion. This happened within the last this last week or so. So all of a sudden things started moving really quickly and really fast, because now everybody thought that Doctor Strange or somebody else was going to be in the next Spider-Man movie. They were hush. Now they announced Mark Ruffalo going to be in it. Why have a Hulk in the Spider-Man movie unless those two are going to fight, or they're going to fight someone else or something else? You know. And remember, somebody brought this out in the chat that everybody knows Spider-Man in the universe. They do not know Peter Parker. So Dr. Bruce Banner knows a Spider-Man, does not know he's Peter Parker, because everybody's memory was wiped. So what happens?
That storyline. Yeah.
That story. So they might meet as friends. They might meet as enemies. You don't know what the context is and what he's there in the story for. It's just that he's going to be part of the cast. He's in the movie, and if Mark Ruffalo's in there, you know they're bringing the Hulk.
It's like that episode of the comic books where the Kingpin knocks out Spider-Man, and they don't know who the hell he is. They're like, "Who is
Yeah,
this? It's a kid. Who is this kid?"
I don't know. So
'Cause
they're going off for it,
Well,
Hmm?
sorry. In the
No,
Marvel, okay, let's go back. In the Stan Lee original Marvel universe, Otto Octavius knows Peter Parker. Reed Richards knows Peter Parker. Dr. Cummings, the lizard, knows Peter Parker. There's two more. But most of them have absolutely. Peter Parker being Spider-Man is not a possibility in those guys' reality. Much like in the Batman world, Two-Face says it best. This guy ain't Bruce Wayne. I know Bruce Wayne. If he's, there's no way Bruce Wayne is Batman because he's so good at not being detected that even one of his best friends has no fucking clue that he's two people. So it's the same thing with Spider-Man. And to go back to your first topic, there have been episodes where the Hulk where the Hulk came into Spider-Man's territory for whatever reason. I think one time he was fighting somebody else, and Spidey tried to help him, but the Hulk attacked him, and then they started fighting. But the Hulk fighting Spider-Man always ends the same. It always ends with Peter talking him down and him turning back into Bruce Banner. Like, that's how they fight. Now they'll get a few good ones in there back and forth, but Spider-Man can't go toe-to-toe with the Hulk. He's actually more evenly matched to the Thing because they have the same weightlifting capability. The Hulk is one of those rare characters like Thor or Galactus or the Silver Surfer or Captain Marvel or the Sentry, or there's a couple others that are like, these are Omega level power, like Iceman and Cyclops. These individuals are off the scale of the normal amount of power that you're going to run into. Like if
the problem with the Hulk is his power level can increase because what is it driven by? You continue to piss him off, you continue to make him more and more angry. And they've shown that in the comics, they've shown that in some of the animated stuff. They played on that over time, that if you increase his rage level, he can essentially supercharge and become an extraordinary force. But something that kind of struck me, guys, you were talking about this, is, you'd said that people were unhappy with the intelligent, intellectual Hulk. But what's the one character of controlled Hulk that actually drew a lot of fan favorites? When he became Mr. Fix-It.
Mr. Fix-It, yeah.
So there's a potential that he doesn't have to necessarily go mega in the film. You've got Bruce Banner. If he shows up as the intelligent Hulk, something happens, and he goes Mr. Fix-It.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which makes him lawful evil in some ways, lawful neutral in many ways, because Mr. Fix-It was the guy, I don't have a problem walking in and crushing this guy's skull because he has broken this rule, but I'm making a cognizant thought about it, as opposed to Mega Hulk or Green Hulk, who's just, you are between me and what I'm looking for, or you happen to be the one that has pissed me off for the moment, and I'm going to turn you into a grease spot and move on to the next.
You do have a point, because we don't know what context that it's coming in or how they're going to use them. And the two are going to fight, but we don't know if the Hulk is not going to be the main villain in this.
Yeah.
And they might be fighting each other to get to the villain, or they might be fighting each other in spite of the villain for something. But whichever...
labeling the Hulk as a villain is a weird, really kind of gray area. I mean, he's more an anti-hero, but I see what you mean. Where, dude, if he loses it, he fights everybody. That's what he's like a berserker. Like when they used to throw guys in pits with bears, and when they came out, they were just nuts. And they used them in battle and psyched them up and turned them loose on the enemy. But they also attacked their allies. So the Hulk is a oily element of chaos. But he appeals to the 3-year-old in all of us. Hulk smash! Oh my God, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's the monster. So with that being said, is that whatever they're using the Hulk, whatever they're setting it up, they're continuing a story with the Spider-Man one. And because we don't know who the villain of Spider-Man is, there's a lot of people throwing a lot of things on it, but there's no confirmation. There's been confirmation, well, it could be the Chameleon, but then I'm looking at it, they haven't set anybody up to be the Chameleon, and if he's the Chameleon, it's going to be one shot, one done. And Chameleon is kind of like Clayface the Batman. He can swap faces and stuff on it. Is he a good villain? And there was other stuff. Maybe they bring the Vulture back or somebody else, Scorpion. So the villain, we don't know who the villain is of the new Spider-Man movie, but they also introduced some other girl that might be a love interest, but they're keeping her part under wraps. So she might be Black Cat. She might be the new, because this movie here, technically, it's a soft reboot. We're getting the Spider-Man of the comics. So that other Mary Jane, whatever her name was, may not.
Stacy.
Zendaya.
Who?
I don't know if she's in this one. And if she is, might be a small part, because they're bringing another love interest in, and it's either going to be Gwen Stacy, or it's going to be Felicia Harding, the Black Cat. So somebody else is coming in, and we're getting more traditional Spider-Man, or old Spider-Man, because nobody knows who he actually is. They know it's Spider-Man. They don't know it's Peter Parker. So as for what is going on, this is going to be the first time that Peter meets all of them. Because remember, Peter remembers. Possibly Doctor Strange, maybe, to a point. Everyone else doesn't. So everything else, he remembered what happened. Yeah. But Banner's not going to know who he is. No one's going to know who he is. He's just Spider-Man and Peter Parker separate.
What's really...
Didn't they bring the Chameleon in the Hunter film that they just did? The Chameleon was created from the Hunter's brother, little brother.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a tie, because that one, from what I understand, didn't necessarily fare great. But maybe they're pulling that character along. So now we have, to Bill's point, now we've spoon-fed somebody a creation story about the Chameleon. If we bring the Chameleon over, now everybody knows, oh, we know who he is. He's the brother of the Hunter. Okay, so we know how he was created. Now they're making that draw. And maybe if that, I'll put my 2 cents in. If they're doing that, I give them kudos. Because that's the way you have to play the Marvel game. The DC world, in my mind, is the Sunday preschool Bible study group. It's very simple. It's very easy. We bring it along so that everybody can understand it. We don't go too deep into it. When you start getting into the Marvel characters, that's the Wednesday night adult Bible study group who want to sit down and say, well, we know the story of Lazarus, but don't you think that Lazarus is a metaphor for cheesecake without whipped topping? What? But that's where this kind of thing comes along. That's the difference that you find between the two franchises.
Yeah, I would.
Marvel kept it or DC kept it simple, and they did it on purpose, and they did it very well. And Marvel went much deeper. Stan Lee, if he did not have a PhD in psychology, he should have been awarded an honorary PhD in psychology from every university in the United States, because he was an extraordinary psychologist for the everyday man.
I think that he was a good people watcher. I think that's a good quality for being a writer. But I think you're right, because it's only a couple of, well, I don't know. I haven't read the amount of DC that I have Marvel. But I would have to agree with you because Spider-Man has a rogues gallery. There, you know, there's an incredible amount of villains that he's faced since the early 60s. The Fantastic Four kind of specializes in the major threats, like the Avengers, like the Defenders, like the X-Men, because there are tiers with Marvel and DC. You're not going to send Superman to get purse snatchers. That's for Arrow to do. That's for, you know, you're not going to send Wonder Woman to handle a mob. That's more of a Hawk and Dove kind of job. Let them handle that. You have to go fight the killer robot that just destroyed half the city in the other place. So it's best as, again, they're missing a great opportunity right now with how far CGI and AI have come, because if they went through the Detective Comics and the Batman stories and they picked a really good Clayface story, they could make a 2-hour movie out of it and have Clayface end up in Arkham. And it would be really good, because Clayface is kind of lesser in the comics, and he gets way revamped in the animated series from 1992. And Ron Perlman does his voice for the animated series. So it's like win, 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 win. Because Clayface is kind of pushed over on the side with the Black Mask and a couple of the others, where it's like, dude, he's like a living liquid puddle thing. He should be way more of a problem than he is. So I don't want to see him make Batman more emo. I don't want to see more. They tried to make Batman these like exploding major, you know, that dude, he's a detective. Give us a really good detective story.
I would love to see them take the first 5 comics, Detective Comics, when Batman came about, the first 5 of those books, and run them in that time frame, but don't film them like it's a Danny Elfman film. You've got to film them more like, I would do it more like it was Chinatown.
Yeah.
I would film it in that fashion.
A noir? Like a noir?
Make it a noir, but don't make it dark. I don't want to make this a Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't want to make this Edward Scissorhands.
Tim Burton. You said Danny Elfman, you meant Tim
Burton. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim Burton.
No,
but
they work great
That would
together.
be my thing. That would be my thing, is that if you're going to do it, you've got to film it just like they took on stories like Mulholland Falls and
The Usual Suspects.
The Usual Suspects, things like that. It's got to be filmed straightforward. We don't want the extra dark. We don't want, if you have to film day as night, that's fine, and use filters. But you can still film at night with the new cameras and make it very believable, very realistic. You don't want to turn that one into a comic book on the screen. You want to make that one the true buildup. Let me show you how this began, where this all came from. This is what the tale truly is. And then you can run with it. That would speak to a much broader audience, and it would beat the hell out of, what was it, when they did the Joker film.
Oh, the second one or the first one?
When they did those two, that was that was taking away too much of the tale to try and make it this musical. And I think they lost the whole concept. trying to make it this psychological thriller, but it wasn't. It wasn't a psychological thriller. At no point in time did they ever crawl into his head. At no point in time did they ever try and build it up. They built the way they built it, unfortunately, the way it seemed to have been written. It was written for shock value in certain aspects, to go from one end of the pendulum to another in a lifelike, realistic filming process. I think they would be better off taking that one had they gone through, and that one would have been much better done if you'd have done the true to life style filming, but then you have to step in to his mindset. So almost like a Faustian play. So I'm going to show you what the real world is. Now I'm going to show you what he sees from his aspect.
Yeah.
Let's show you the psychosis as it builds. So kind of a Quentin Tarantino style where you're showing somebody, this is what really happened. Now I'm going to switch and show you it from within the perspective of the man becoming Joker. And now we're going to switch back to reality. And now I'm going to show you again where he sees it, but not for the entirety of each sequence, but enough to show you where the separation is coming from. And that way you can see the progression of the psychosis to the point where he falls over and becomes the Joker.
Yeah. I don't want a Joker or
Yeah.
No, but if you were going to do it, that's the only way I could see doing
I
it
agree with
to
you.
make it worthwhile.
I would
You've
rather
got to take it.
Yeah, and nothing on Joaquin Phoenix nor delicious Lady Gaga, but I don't want to see the Joker. You know, I would watch an origin movie for Two-Face and Clayface and the Penguin, and Gotham did a great job. Leave it at that. Leave it at that. You don't.
Well,
Sometimes you don't need to make the movie. Just let the mystery fester.
like going with what you said, Rob, I think you could do like the first 5 episodes. The only caveat I would put is that you put it through the eyes of Commissioner Gordon. He's the detective. He's looking around, and all of a sudden there's this Batman, and you see Batman. You see him do it, but the Commissioner Gordon, he don't know if you can trust him. He don't know if he's the problem. But you see Batman there. You see the other things happening. So you see it through his eyes, and all of a sudden he's there, and they're talking to him. You see cutaways where they're getting to the place, to run into the place, and they show cutscenes of the Batman dealing with all the criminals. But you don't see who he is. Everybody knows who he is, but Commissioner Gordon doesn't know who he is, and you get the noir feeling of it, because all of a sudden you get this detective that's sharing information with him, but then it's like the birth of whether or not he could trust them, whether they're trustable. What's this guy's game? He's handing, and then what happens? Then you get a mythical creature there. You get Batman that he's uncertain of. We all know it in the audience, but you're trying to figure out what is his angle, and you don't reveal it towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's almost like filming the Thin Man from the perspective of the lieutenant.
The lieutenant. There you go. Exactly the idea. You get that new world detective feel to it without going too comic booky, but you have the Batman in there, ever looming, happening there, a constant, possibly threat or ally, but going against something that's bigger. So it's not through his vision; it's through Gordon's, and you're seeing play by play through him. He's just a spectator in it and what's going on.
Can I sideline on this, because
Yeah, sure.
I agree with both of what you just said, but there's a huge opportunity that's missed, and we may just have to direct this movie ourselves, and that is, they should really do a Mr. Freeze movie and do it like The Crow.
Need better internet than 5G?
Yeah.
Your search is over.
Trying to get a perfect quote from the animated series. Because Mr. Freeze's backstory, if you're a hopeless romantic like I am, it's just absolutely crushing. Because he just cares about Nora.
Yeah. But then you've got to find who would be, because I would not. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was
way for me to say it.
position as
I can
that was fine.
beg your
He was a
I would want for the doctor to play the doctor. I would want somebody like a young Alec Guinness of that caliber, that kind of an actor, somebody who could stand there and present and evoke a feeling, a presence, a position, and an intelligence that people are going to look at and go, oh yeah, this guy immediately. This guy is an intellectual giant. Perhaps he's a little bit on the autistic scale, that he's so intelligent, but maybe he's missing some of his more baser social skills. That then leads the break with reality, or the break that happens with Mr. Freeze. That makes it that much more powerful and that much more endearing to the audience, because now they're like, as you said, oh my God, the loss of the love of his life, and you've seen all the buildup, and you've seen she's the only one that can break through to him when he's in so much intensity in other areas. Now we've got the loss. He can't fix. He can't correct it.
Yeah.
He can't save her. All he can do is suspend her until such time as he can come up with some kind of a solution. And he has fallen over that glass wall that separated the man and race, or social.
What
I
is
can't even
right
think now.
Right. Freeze goes through the ultimate transition because the problem with the 1960s show with Adam West and Burt Ward, the show's fine, but it's a comical take, dumbed down and digestible for the unread audience. The Joker, sometimes the Riddler, and always the Creeper only act in a constant goofy, oh yeah. The rest of them,
The Penguin, all of them.
the Penguin doesn't do that. Mr. Freeze definitely does not do that. And Arnold, the problem with both the Schumacher movies is they have like glimpses of what they're supposed to be, but then the rest of it is just like Hollywood taking over and him going, okay, I want to keep working, whatever. Oh, you want him to be more comical? Oh, you want him to tell jokes? Two-Face doesn't tell jokes.
Actually, I'm gonna bring a point of how I see Mr. Freeze, and I'm gonna use another movie to do it.
Oh, please go.
Okay.
Please.
And
I love Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is one of my favorite
Mr.
villains.
Mr. Freeze to me is such a misunderstood character, because you had a man that loved humanity, that showed his emotions, that was good-hearted and stuff, but when Nora dropped him to the bowels of despair, that he became desperate. Then the accident happened. Once he becomes Mr. Freeze, he is devoid of emotions.
He's a monster. He sees himself as a monster.
Well, he sees himself as a monster. But what happens is, I'll use this analogy so you can understand what it is. He's trying to get his humanity back. And in essence, he's like RoboCop.
Oh, good.
RoboCop, he was the policeman, the guy, the father, and everything on it. Then the accident happened, and he's brought back to life, maybe against his will. Maybe he never wanted this to happen, but it happened. So what happens, because of what happened to him, it stripped away his humanity. He's on life support. He is now this monster. He's the golem, like we were talking episodes ago. Now he's trying to reconcile that.
Guy.
He's trying to reconcile that with what he needs and has to do. Now he knows what to do, and he's going to do it by any means, hell or high water. That's what puts him in contrast to Batman, because he needs to complete what he's done, because he no longer has feelings. He can no longer cry for Nora. That's the biggest thing a lot of people don't miss. He can no longer weep for his wife. All he's running on is memories of her. He no longer has the feelings.
That was the quote I was going to play. I failed you. I can say it no other way. I don't want to take away from your point, because I totally agree, but I want to add to it, because you went way more modern. I was going to say not just RoboCop, but Mr. Freeze and Nora they're basic. It's the reverse Phantom of the Opera. They start out together and they are apart, and she's right there, but he can't touch her. Whoops, what did I do? He can't touch her. There's nothing he can do. He can't. Oh, it's It's the movie Lady Hawk. Always together, forever apart.
Forever apart. And if you look at it, you got to get an actor, going back like to what Rob was saying, that can portray emotion without looking at emotion, have a poker face. Because when you get a man that says vengeance is a dish best served cold, you say with the inflections like a killer.
Yeah. Michael Ansara is dead though. He did the voice.
I know, but
he was perfect.
You would have to. It was perfect, but you got to get somebody with that inflection, with that where he can look at you and you see nothing, you feel nothing. He's like, I feel nothing, I see nothing. I no longer mourn. I no longer laugh.
No. Let's debate this. Okay, if I could cast Mr. Freeze right now in either a weekly show or a movie origin story, honestly, I'd have to go with McAvery, the dude from Split, and he played Professor X.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Glass. That dude has range. I mean, he is, and you need range because Mr. Freeze claims to be without emotions, but dude, when he gets all worked up and pissed off or upset, he still has emotions. They've just been buried in all the anguish of everything. I think he would do an excellent job because most of the other actors I would pick are too fucking old to be,
Freeze makes me think about the opera and the story of Dr. Faust.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Faust.
Yep.
And he grows disillusioned with and the ability to gain knowledge and have knowledge. In the tale of Faust, Mephistopheles comes and makes the deal. So I see a lot of similarities there, and it's probably some of it is subconscious and some of it is probably conscious. And when
you keep freezing up on us, Rob.
Well, then why don't you warm up out? Okay. You said I'm freezing. You need to warm up your router.
That was good. I failed. Dan Creech and I were having this. So, also thank you, my sister Beth, for giving me this brand new shirt. It's the 40th anniversary, 50th anniversary of Jaws, Memorial Day weekend. It was when we can't close the beach. I keep telling everybody, I'm not Ron or Donnie or you, Rob. I don't know what I'm doing to hook up the new router because the old router is super old and Cox is still charging me. This is called a surf board.
Yep.
I got it all hooked up and it still didn't work because I don't know what I'm doing. So I hooked up the old one. There you go.
That's why I lease my equipment from Cox, and I tell them it's not working. I want the latest and greatest, and I know that their technician, if I can get level 2, will reach out to my device and pull down the information. Go, oh hell yeah, your unit is, and the last 2 times they've sent me out new units. I put them in because I would rather they take the hit on the purchase of the equipment, and I'll pay them the $10 a month till that piece of equipment is no longer useful.
I don't want to spend any show time screaming about Cox.
Yeah.
Because you're a fucking utility company. Stop trying to be like this package, that package. It's not a package. Give me high internet. I play video games and stream. We're going to be playing role-playing games via... Oh! The D&D... Okay. McRoy. What the hell is that his last name? McAvery?
John McElroy, whatever, one from Split and so forth.
Yeah, I think he would be an excellent Mr.
Please.
Freeze. And he he's already shaved his head for Professor X and Split.
Right.
So he's cool with it. Fuck, if for $1 million I'd shave my head in a second. I'd make a video. Be like, okay, you two, here's the razors, go. Because it's hair, it'll grow back.
And Mr. Freeze, before the accident, wasn't an imposing man. He was a scientist. He would be a brainiac, a smart man. It's just his uniform that keeps him alive. So again, like the RoboCop analogy, he becomes the golem, becomes the monster once he gets into it. So they could suit him up and make him look bigger than what he is, but he's not a big man.
Caveat too, Ron Perlman's a little too old to play Clayface, but Henry Cavill. He needs to play a Marvel villain. He's already been Superman, the fucking poster boy for DC. I think he would be an amazing Clayface, and I say that it would show his. Oh, what happened?
Yeah, he froze. He's coming.
Rob.
Henry Cavill.
Oh, there we go.
And Marvel doing something else instead of being a villain.
DC Clayface. There. Oh God, you're back. Okay, we lost you, Rob. Now you're back.
Henry Cavill, like I said, he's not coming back to the James Gunn thing. It's
directors are a dime. Director has the vision, but the actor is what the public. The actor is
correct.
What the public
Remember,
sees.
James Gunn is running DC right now. He's doing the film of it, so that's the part you got to look to contend with, because he's doing his DC universe. So everything from the Snyderverse is dead. So all that.
I'm sorry. I know they're not popular, but bring back Joss Whedon and Favreau. Let's go. Come on. Let's bring those guys soon.
Bring them back.
But here's the first Avengers was fucking awesome. I've watched it like 8 times. It's real, not just because of Scarlett Johansson, but yeah, it's really good. It's done very well as here are your introductions. Here's the world shit going into the fan. You guys saved the day. Oh no, a couple of you almost died. Let's go to the pub and have some drinks. There we go.
Well, here's an interesting question for the both of you, and I want to see what you guys think. Who do you think should lead the next Avengers movie? Because there's some interesting facts that are coming to light in a possibility. Who do you think? Because remember, Robert Downey Jr. is coming as the antagonist. Chris, they're all done. So who do you think should take the Avengers? Who should lead them into battle? Who do you think is the next character that would come up to it?
Hawkeye.
That would stand up and what people would stand behind.
Hawkeye.
People would believe and not go, eh. Hawkeye's a good one, Jeremy Renner.
Hawkeye doesn't have any powers, but he's a man of his word throughout all of the shit, and he never gets any credit for that. And I think
he doesn't get any.
Do you want me to answer, or do you want to ask me more questions?
No. Go ahead and answer. Yeah, go ahead and answer.
Both of those are fine, Guy. I don't want to talk over you and be rude, dude. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
No, because I like where you're going with it.
I think that if you introduced Mockingbird and you had like Melissa Ranch player, sorry, she's just so cute, and you had like, honey, if you made her his moral compass, because she's not in any of the movies. Dude, she's an Avenger since the late 60s. She's still an honorary Avenger. And she fights with 2 quarterstaff, or smaller versions of the quarterstaff. But Mockingbird and Hawkeye they're not only wedded in the comic, she's kind of his moral support. Because you see all of the different relations. Again, we were talking about Stan Lee being possibly a student of psychology, but definitely an observer of the human animal. And the beauty of DC women are kind of all the same until you get to like Wonder Woman and Lois Lane or Supergirl. They're all kind of, oh, hi, Bruce, you're so rich and cute, hee hee hee. And then you get into like Poison Ivy, where she has an accident, but she's already kind of got the fiery passion. And then you've got Catwoman, who's a classic femme fatale, but Catwoman doesn't fit into a box. Oh, we lost him again.
Yeah, he'll be back. It froze.
This better not be my computer. This is really pissing.
No, I don't think it is. Because if it was your computer, you would have lost all of us.
Good point. I'm mad at my I'm mad at my setup right now, so it's got to be my fault.
But you're right.
Where
That's a
Marvel,
big.
yeah, there's a big difference. Marvel women are vastly different from comic to comic. Sue Storm is Reed Richards' support, but Mary Jane is kind of a random element to Spider-Man. She's kind of just using him like she does all males because she's fantastically hot. But then when she finds out he's Spider-Man, everything makes sense of him being a massive flake. Because he's the meme is, I don't understand it. Ursula made Peter a thing and Mary Jane, Dude, Ursula in the comic story is kind of a new addition. And Mary Jane moved in there when they were teeny tiny. So she is the girl next door. And he's fucked her over so many times because he's Spider-Man and he couldn't tell her. And she doesn't find out until way later. And then at that time, she's like, oh my God, it all makes sense now. Because she thinks secretly he's got a drug or alcohol problem, or maybe he's visiting prostitutes, or something else is going on, or maybe something much darker is going on. Because he not only fucks her over, a lot of times he leaves her in the lurch having to take care of Aunt May, which is why you need to keep Aunt May at like 92 instead of like 58. With like Marissa Tomei, it's like, that's not Aunt May. Oh, it's Aunt May. That's too young and sexy to be Aunt May. Aunt May is about to fall over anymore. Oh dear, I can barely make the tea. That's Aunt May.
Well, you know what? I brought that point up. I brought that point up because there's an interesting, how can I say, little secret or little thing that's going on about the Secret Wars on it. That there might be focusing on another character that we forgot, that everybody loves, and he already proven his leadership qualities. Because what the rumor is, and again, this is rumor, this is big fucks of proximity, but somebody let it out of the bag that the new leader of the Avengers, who might be going into Secret Wars, that's bringing the group together, and they said about his return. They said about his return. They made a thing about his return. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
And speak.
Yeah, the internet over here is acting up for whatever reason, so I'm going to recycle my network, but I'll be on my phone.
Okay. Awesome.
Let's recap. I'm mad about Aunt May being young again for like the fourth podcast.
and I was covering who could lead the Avengers in the new movie, but what I was telling the boy, Hawkeye is one of my choices that would be in it, but a scooper came out and said something. Now again, to take it with a grain of salt, but something was promised, and they don't know when they're going to deliver. But now it makes sense because of the scooper. The new person that might lead the Avengers,
lost him again. God damn it!
Is
like and subscribe, folks.
Like and subscribe. Yeah.
No expense was spared. Oh, he's back. Okay. Jurassic Park.
Well, funny that you say Jurassic Park because the rumor mill is Chris Pratt, Star-Lord.
For the Avengers?
Wait a minute, there is precedence, but he might not. He's an honorary member. Remember, they say Star-Lord will be back, but in what? The Guardians of the Galaxy are done. It's not for another Guardians of the Galaxy. So what happens is
the Galaxy didn't really last that long. I mean, it was short-lived. It's a miracle that Guardians of the Galaxy became a movie because it only, 20 issues? was.
Yeah, it was short-lived, but it became a great movie. But what happens is
Oh, they were
they're
fun.
looking
Yeah.
they're looking at somebody that's kind of OG, that's still in the Marvel universe, and that has people that will follow him. Well, with RGJ, people are following RGJ because of Robert Downey Jr. But he's the villain in this movie, or so-called villain, or sympathetic villain. So who's left there? You have Anthony Mackie, but they don't think he's got the gravitas to pull it together. And the only one that goes unquestioned, because you have Hawkeye, you have Jeremy Renner, but the only one who ever showed leadership capabilities, remember the plan, and he kind of messed up the plan, was Star-Lord. And Star-Lord has come back, so they think he might lead them. He might not become a full member or on it, but he might come up with the idea and help to rally the Avengers during Secret Wars. Because he said he's supposed to return.
Yeah. With the Avengers and the X-Men and the Defenders and the Fantastic, it depends on the villain. You don't always need the Black Panther. You don't always need Thor. You don't always need... They assemble for who is needed to assess and, dismantle the threat. Same thing with the X-Men.
Correct. But the point was made that...
Colossus doesn't go every single time, nor does
No,
Beast,
he didn't go.
Iceman.
Well, the point was made that with Chris Pratt, he's kind of the heart and a sympathetic hero that people follow him and people go to his movies. So I think they're going to set him up to be a catalyst to help to rally the Avengers in Secret Wars. He might not play a big deal in Doomsday, but they said he will return in the last one. And people are like, well, where is he going to return? Oh, he might show up in another movie. But they said Star-Lord will return. And remember, Star-Lord got a big upgrade with his suit and everything on it. You never got to see his full suit. So I'm looking at it going, oh, they might stick him in there.
The problem is that if you involve Star-Lord and you need a Galactus level threat.
Yeah.
For...
And I think that's what they're setting up Doom. But here's the other thing that's happening too. Because they moved the movies over. And like I said, this right here it was done on Reddit. So we don't know if it's true or not. But they're also it's affecting the third Doctor Strange movie. And so supposedly the working is the working title for that movie is The Incursions of Insanity. So they're talking about incursions. That's where they left up on the last Doctor Strange movie.
All over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I think is happening, I think they're setting up Battleworld. I think they're going to set up with the rune on it.
Where Doom becomes a god. I never read the comic, but I watched one of the videos. I was like, huh. Yeah. Never heard of that comic.
So it's starting to fall to pieces with other people that come up and it's listening to bits and pieces of it. Yeah. That's what they're setting up for, because the spot is now open the summer of next year for another movie that's still unnamed. And I think they're saving it for San Diego.
Yeah. What really sucks is that Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, because it would be awesome to watch a Chris Pratt Deadpool movie. I think he would fucking nail the character. But that's in an alternative universe, he is Deadpool. Mm-hmm. There's like Universe 35. We'll get there soon. CERN will take us there. But for right now...
Well, the one big thing about it with Ryan Reynolds, the one thing he said about Deadpool, that Deadpool is trying to become an Avenger. And once he becomes an Avenger...
Nobody wants Deadpool around. That's what... He's not well-liked.
He's not well-liked, but this is what he said about the movies. He said he's good with playing Daredevil in his own plaything. Because he said he can never become Avenger. That's the whole thing. He wants to, but he's never going to become. He doesn't have the right character. So he's never going to play along with other characters.
Cap cannot stand Deadpool.
So what happens is...
Captain America, you're the best. Oh, you're that Deadpool guy, aren't you? That's basically how that goes. Captain America hates Deadpool.
Hey, Deadpool. So I think they're gonna keep Deadpool in his own playground with the X-Men and stuff, but they're not gonna bring him too much into stuff because he kind of takes the air out of the room. Because you Daredevil, not Daredevil, but Deadpool is his own thing. It's kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah, it's doing fine with the Wolverine movies and his movies, and now and then he should make a cameo in an X-Men movie. But Deadpool in the history of Marvel, he's actually quite young. He's only 40 some years old. Really, he came out in the late 80s. Was when
90s.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
Rob Liefeld did in like 1990.
Oh, that's right. We looked it up because I still think he's an answer to the dude with the cooking pot on his head and the Union suit and the blue boots that used to do Marvel commentary. That was the voice of the staff, and what was it called? Black, not Brand Black, and other stuff like that. And it was Marvel, but it was basically like Mad Magazine Marvel. I used to have a bunch of copies of them. Now I just
Deadpool is the antithesis to Punisher. Punisher is brooding and dark and always on that position. Even when he is, big air quotes, blending in without wearing all of his combat gear and he's just moving through the shadows, he's still that dark, brooding presence.
not Deadpool.
You know, Deadpool is exactly the opposite. Deadpool is always on. He is always being flippant. But he has that same skill set. So he's still the dead shot. He's still the violent character who is an incredible killing machine.
And
He's an extraordinary
asshole.
killing machine. So that would be the most interesting team up, would be to see how long it would take for the Punisher to really try to be the one who could kill Deadpool. Because the two of them would be doing the same thing. I'm going to kill this guy. You're going to kill that guy. Oh, that was a nice shot. Shut up. It's the whole, it's the meme that's been showing up of late. There's the Viking ship, and there's a little bubble that says, hey, we should start a band and call ourselves the Pillage People. And there's another bubble that says, shut up, Bjorn. So that's Punisher and Deadpool going through a group of bad guys, and Deadpool is finally giving it to Punisher so much that at the very end they kill the last bad guy, and Punisher just turns and puts a bullet in Deadpool's head and walks away. He's like, can't do this anymore.
Here's a real stab in the eye. Is how come we get 2 Spider-Man Rogues Gallery movies, but only 2, and they're later villains? We get Kraven the Hunter and Morbius, which are both Spider-Man, start off as Spider-Man villains. Where's the Green Goblin movie? Where's Dr. Octopus movie? Where's the Vulture movie?
Well, you forget Madam Web in there too.
Rhino? Shocker.
Well,
Electro?
that was because of the previous Sony hot hanchos, Amy Pascal or whatever, who was running Sony at the time, wanted to do Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man in it because they had the rights to it, and that's where Morbius came in. That's where Kraven the Hunter came in. That's where Madam Web came in. They're all Spider-Man centric characters, and they wanted to make them. Well, they did Venom first, and Venom was so popular and stuff, they decided to break it out. But they were doing it in spite of Marvel. It was their own thing that they did, but unfortunately, with Sony, they didn't know the true essence of the characters, and you can't have those characters without Spider-Man. It's like having a movie without Batman, and that's why they flopped. Venom is the only one that went out on his own and stayed out on his own. Everyone else is heavily reliant on a Spider-Man being there.
Yeah.
It doesn't work without him. It doesn't make any sense, because if you look at Morbius, okay, unless you put him in a Blade movie,
He's just
there's no problem.
He's just vampire by night,
just Vampire by Night
Yeah,
and so
I
forth.
forgot about Venom. I totally forgot. Because Venom
Yeah.
starts Web of Spider-Man, and it.
Mhm.
I've seen most of the first movie, and he doesn't mention Peter Parker once.
Mm-mm.
Because
No, because
you have this weird thing going on with Eddie Brock and Peter Parker are kind of friendly competitors because they're both taking pictures for the Daily Bugle. But Brock doesn't hate Parker until after Venom. And Venom's jealous because just going off of Eddie is a lot of power, but Peter has superpowers. So it's a symbiotic alien that latched onto a superhero. Yeah, he's going to be pissed that he was rejected and Reed Richards zapped him and took him off of him for good.
yeah, what happened was like this is the one thing is when Marvel, and you don't see it too much in DC, where a villain becomes so popular that they become a hero, and with Venom, like the whole movie is Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
Or the whole movie that you see, it's the story of Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
Venom is out on his own. He's with Eddie Brock, and he becomes the Lethal Protector. And that one doesn't have nothing to do with Spider-Man. The only thing with Venom has is his origins is with Spider-Man. But the symbiote is now bonded with Eddie Brock, so that's where it was able to stand on its own. Where people, okay, Alien comes down, so they hop over Peter Parker one, and they went right to the bonding with Eddie.
Yeah, and
we did the
Topher Grace is an amazing actor, and he did a really good job with what he was given. But Tom Hardy kind of just knocked it out of the park with what Eddie Brock was going through in the beginning of the attachment, and when Venom becomes a part of his life, and then Woody Harrelson did a great job. Okay, he's on that list of so and so was awesome in that. Well, of course they were. They're an awesome actor. He of course he was great as Carnage. He's perfect for that role. And there's other actors as well that could have played Carnage, but yeah, Woody Harrelson would have been my first choice to play Cassidy.
He's good.
We need a psycho. Okay, Woody Harrelson that also has an alien attached to him. Woody Harrelson. Gary Busey's too old. Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
But that's where it went wrong because Venom had his own stories, had his own line, and so forth. But going back like to Kraven the Hunter, to Madam Web, even to Morbius. Morbius is a good story on its own. The first movie wasn't too bad, but it's a vampire movie. And without Spider-Man in it, it's just a vampire movie. He's just a living vampire.
Jared Leto.
So
I don't want to watch that. He was a terrible Joker. There, I said it.
Yeah. So that's why nobody went to it. Madam Web made no sense whatsoever. If you ever see it, it's a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man, and it makes no sense. Madam Web is a character, an obscure character in the Spider-Man's mythos.
Wait.
You know who?
Guy, wait. Start at the beginning, please.
Well, yeah.
Credits.
Madam Web has to do with a whole different thing on it. And the big mistake that they made with Madam Web, that they overlooked a character that could have did her own movie separately. And a lot of people don't think about this. Madam Web is too convoluted. It's way too convoluted with the story. You have to give so much story. It has to go back with Venom. It has to go back with the symbiotes. It has to go back with her visions. It's way too convoluted to bring it into a movie, and there's way too many bits and pieces for it. Yeah. But the one they should have did, and they were planning on doing, would have been a good one, and it had nothing to do with Spider-Man. She could hold her own on it. Was they had the rights to Silver Sable. Think of a Black Widow component. Yeah. She fought alongside. She's a Spider-Man, sometimes antagonist, protagonist, back and forth.
Depends on the scenario.
But you have somebody that's just on the level of Black Widow. Somebody that's a spy, somebody that can handle it, and so forth on it. That's a self-character who has her own self-story and had her own self-booklet. That's independent of Spider-Man that can break her feet like Venom. Or Madam Web, in the movie, even in the what, they had to bring in another pseudo Spider-Man as the villain to make it kind of make sense. And the problem with Kraven the Hunter exists to hunt. Okay, that's great. He had some of his own books, but he wants to hunt the greatest prey. To him is Spider-Man. Without that going there, without that goal, what is he doing? He's just a hunter. So it kind of makes it like, who's his prey? That's the whole idea with Kraven the Hunter. And that's why those movies didn't fare as good, because they're not in the Spider universe. They're not. If Kraven the Hunter was hunting Tom Holland's Spider-Man, or even one of the other Spider-Mans, it would have did better, because people would have went, okay, let's see what this matchup does. Is he going to get Spider-Man? How is he going to hunt Spider-Man? Then that would have made a great Kraven the Hunter movie. But he didn't. He was hunting villains, but, that was it. You just seen a man hunt.
Yeah.
So
and
they have to get healed.
Yeah. Electro and Rhino and Scorpion, they're in the series a lot more than Kraven is. Kraven's there. He's in several episodes, but he's not.
I would like to see Marvel, in all honesty, I'd like to see Marvel bring along a new superhero, somebody who is maybe less than a decade old, into these films to get them started, to bring that along. Because for all of us, we know all of these older characters. We know the old lineages. We know all the rest of that stuff. But there's some capacity within the Marvel writing corps that these guys can create a new great character. They should, at this time, they should have 10, 15 great new characters that maybe are only 3 or 4 or 5 books in, that they should be looking to bring along and carry through. The other thing that I would love to do, and this is just my personal thing because I think it would be a hoot and a half, is if they brought Domino in to each of these other ones just as a little carry through. What's her superpower? She's the luckiest lady in the universe. And let her walk through, and she could be what Deadpool couldn't be. Yep. She could be kind of a tying thread, a little bit of comedy, but she's presenting it as, no, this is reality. I'm not here to make a cheap joke. I'm not here to tell a fart joke. I'm not here to do any of the rest of this crap. I'm here to kind of throw a little continuity, maybe to carry you from here to there, and to bring that along. Because I thought, for as little as she was there, the way that the actor played the character, the way she could just sit there and she could just say, really? You can't? Okay, fine. Off we go. I thought that character and the way she played it went very well. And I would love to see that kind of pick up and move through. Yeah. That would be an interesting tie-in to be able to show, oh, look, that's how you could also judge your development of a new character. Domino's a relatively new character, but not that. And you could judge that development by bringing some of these folks through. Look, we're going to interject them. You get to see who they are. They get a brief presentation. We find out who the character is. They never developed Rogue the way they should have. Yeah. Rogue would have been a great one to carry through and to develop, and she could have played into a lot of things. And she's got as much of a scrambled psyche as anybody else, on the good side, as she's trying to deal with all the things that she grew up with and having to live with the power she has. She's another one that could have been played very well, but they never wrote that for that character. There are a number of good ones from my day that could carry through that were never developed that far. They still have an existence. They still kind of run through. They're the ones that show up when you need a Marvel team up, when you need to kind of bring somebody in that moves this particular storyline to another region. Alpha Flight was a good one for that. Alpha Flight was a neat idea. It was a coattail team, but it was a neat idea. But they never developed it. They never carried it as far as they could have. And they never delineated it as to what they could have been. To your point, you talk about everybody has their area, and that's as it should be to a certain extent. Everybody travels when there's a major event, and something goes on in Arizona. You get the New York Avengers, the East Coast Avengers, the West Coast Avengers. Everybody shows up to do it, and then they all go home. So they're a rapid reaction force. That's what you would expect. But a team like Alpha Flight, some of these other groups that were, okay, we're going to throw this out there. We're going to give it a try. We didn't get the same character sales. We didn't get the same comic book sales that we did with the original Avengers or with Spider-Man or the Web of Spider-Man. We didn't get the same thing that we thought we were going to get out of the Hawkeye series that we had hoped for. And, well, they didn't develop them with that intent. They went for, in the 90s, they were looking for the big splash as opposed to, I'm now going to develop this line. I'm going to take the next 3 years to build this character. So that was kind of a disappointment. But I understand. I mean, Stan Lee was doing less of the control then to some of this stuff. And the accountants were doing things.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Rob, because you get some that are kind of hated right now when they did the all-new, all-inclusive Marvel. Because if you look at some of the characters they introduced, you have America Chavez, you have Miss Marvel, you have
Echo, Ironheart.
Ironheart.
I can't.
Yeah.
To me, a new character is Jessica Jones.
Well, Jessica Jones is an old character, but a new one coming up with it. But what happened was they stepped over really good characters like Alpha Flames, other ones that have a lot of good story behind it, to jump over to these new modern day ones that's only been out for the last 10 years, because a lot of these characters came out in 2015. Ironheart's 2015 and sold very poor comics because they all saw it was a derivative of Iron Man. They didn't like Riri Williams. They still don't. They don't cling to her in the movies, where the president is Rhodey became Iron Man. He was Iron Man for the longest time in the comics. It wasn't Tony Stark. It was Rhodey.
Tony couldn't do it after a while.
Couldn't do it after a while. So he could have been the next Iron Man. He left the War Machine insignia and became Iron Man. Stepped into it. So now you get Ironheart. Okay, you get Echo. Not even like the one in the comics, and it's a modern day comic within the last 10 years. Like America Chavez, kind of a derivative, and they put her in there, and she's kind of like a Deus Ex Machina. So a lot of these newer ones, they don't have the tenure in the stories. And the Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel, the Captain Marvel that we got is not the Captain Marvel that we grew up with, where Carol Danvers was different before Rogue Store of Powers. This is the insufferable Captain Marvel that they redid later. So this is not, and this is the one that they reboot. She had 4 different titles, and each one was canceled.
Yeah.
So what happened was
Miss Marvel isn't even Miss Marvel. It's
Marvel, not even Miss
Marvel.
Marvel.
Totally different story.
Totally different story.
Look the same.
So,
Miss Marvel used to be a tall blonde.
Yeah, tall blonde, and that was the original Carol Danvers. That was the original Miss Marvel. Then they made it a the other Miss Marvel. Yeah. So what happened was they jumped over a lot. Like Alpha Flight would have been a good one. Alpha Flight, you could have introduced new heroes, just like the Guardians of the Galaxy, and brought them in. Nobody would have knew about them. Nobody would have came up. New mythos, but they had years and years and years of stories.
They could have done Excalibur. They could have done X Factor, X Force, West Coast Avengers. They could have do anything, but they like that. Let's keep going with it, dude. You don't need to print out you don't need to make every storyline. Some of them weren't that great. Some of them were very good.
Well, and they chose the ones that they thought was more marketable, but they really didn't sell. Because like when you look at Echo, without Daredevil, and the way they did it in the series was not the way it was in the comics, it went nowhere. It's a know-nothing character. So for them to make a series on her, it didn't make any sense. There are much more other villains. You could have did an Elektra series. Everyone would have seen with her an Elektra series, and if they would have did a good one like a Daredevil offshoot, people would have watched that. People understand and know Elektra. It's in the Daredevil universe. Yeah. She's a main character. But you go to Echo, and she's nowhere near the quality of Elektra. You look at it and you go, no. Even the one in the comics is better, but Elektra far superior of a character, and everybody's familiar with it, and even with the new stuff. So they're betting on like Ironheart again. You had so many other characters before Ironheart, even with it, that you could have put into another suit or made another one, or really did Armor Wars than her. So it doesn't make sense. It's like the new Hawkeye, I forget what her name is, the girl. Okay, in the comic book, she idolizes Hawkeye. She wants to become like him, his partner, and so forth on it. So that one's not too bad because she gives the reverence to Hawkeye. She's not to disrupt him or whatever on it. She really likes and idolizes the guy. So she's a wannabe, but she's really good at what she does even for it. So that character, you can understand why it will come up and show up in the story. But some other ones you look at, for what they show and stuff, what they are, you look at them like, why? You got so many other good characters that they have in their pantheon that they could have came up with Excalibur. I mean, they hinted too much stuff. If they just would have brought up Excalibur, Captain Britain, or so forth on it, people, it's Captain America. Is it going to be just a question, like going back to your what if? Just bringing out Captain Britain, bringing out Excalibur, just coming out there. People would have went, this is new. It's not anything anybody's ever seen. It's not derivative because it's not another thing that we're seeing. It's something new on its own.
We could have had.
They would have liked it.
Yeah.
There was a Native American superhero in Marvel, and I only remember, I have the image in my head, and I was trying to look it up, and I want to say it was White Wolf, but White Wolf that shows up now is one that worked with Black Panther, and this was a Native American elder who was referenced as somebody who helped Logan in Canada, and before, what was her name? The young lady that Silver Fox. It was somebody that was, if I remember right, he was an elder and he had some power over Silver Fox and knew about, and he was a great character from what I remember. But I want to say that he was known as White Wolf or Gray Wolf or something like that. But I mean, just wasn't there for very long. Was very powerful and kind of gone into the woodwork. But that's the kind of character I think would be great to pull in. Somebody like that who's got that interesting background, that the metaphysical side of it without being Doctor Strange. And because that seems to be very popular right now. A lot of the younger generation seem to be interested in the metaphysical. That's why they like Doctor Strange. It's like why they like Scarlet Witch. That's why they like a lot. They like the ghost hunting and all the rest of that. They enjoy that aspect, but they don't want the uber campy stuff necessarily. Yep. They want more of the cerebral side of it. Because you got to remember, these are the kids that, if left alone with their internet, they're going to take apart their cell phone, figure out how it works, and put it back together again. So they like that kind of detail, but they want the reality. They want it to be reasonable enough that they could say, yes, I could see that happening, and it's not Gilligan's Island. So that's the kind of character I think they would do well to pull out and to bring along, but then you have to find a strong actor or actress to play the character, and you've got to have a hell of a good writer to write that tale in such a way that it doesn't become campy. Black Adam was probably the worst superhero film I ever saw, only because the writing for Black Adam, for The Rock, his character's writing was wonderful. And he played it very well, comparatively speaking to what else happened in the film. But when you got the DC, when was it, Hawkman or whatever, when he shows up and he's playing it to the extent that he can of the super leader of the Justice League, and I'm going to teach you all about this, and I'm going to wave my finger at you and tell you must do the following thing. That was played, in my mind, so poorly, but it ran right in line with everything I've ever read in a DC comic book. It was written that way in the comics. It played the same way on the screen, and I think that Dwayne Johnson just kind of said, I'm not talking like that. I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. I'm going to play this like I would expect this character to play for me to be drawn in as a viewer. And I liked the way he played a lot of that. As okay, I'm not familiar with this world. I don't understand how things work. Where I came from, I spoke in a different manner. I didn't have to worry about double entendres. I didn't have to worry about putting things in here. I didn't have to get a catch phrase. And when the young man starts telling, no, you got to say things like this, you got to do things like that, I'll give it a try.
Give it a try.
And that was played out well. I liked that. But Pierce Brosnan could have been so much more powerful had he had better dialogue and the opportunity. I mean, can you imagine him playing that with more of his James Bond presence?
Yeah.
More of his what's the film that he's in right now? He's in with there's a new film out where he is the IRA leader, and he's playing that character. That kind of energy, that kind of dialogue would be perfect, because then that character would have jumped out and would have spoken to me, and I would have said, I want to see those comic books now.
That's where I think you're right. I think where they messed up on Black Adam is that they should have had Dr. Fate, the Pierce Brosnan character, be the leader. And Hawkman played the hothead. And he would have been the one to confront Black Adam, and he would have been the one to say no. He would have been the one fighting him and saying, no, we can't do this, son. He would have been the wiser of the two, but he would have came with that presence. Because his character, in order to make that sacrifice feel more, it didn't pay off. So you really had to sorry for that character, because he's going to make the sacrifice in the movie. So he had to be the leader. He's the seasoned old man. He's the father to Hawkman. Because if you look at the relationship, he's calling him his old friend, but he's been there a long time. So you think about it, it was a great opportunity that he should have been the leader of the JLA, the Justice League of America, and he should have been the one to set the tone. No, Hawkman, we go when we're ready. Let's see what he does. Wait and see. And if they would have did it to that eye and put him as the leader instead of Hawkman, I think it would have changed the whole tone of the movie and would have gave credence to Black Adam, because Black Adam's a fish out of water. He doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. He only sees what's going on, what's there, and he's trying to. At first, they would meet as enemies because he don't know the potential. He would say, "Stand down, don't hurt anything," and they would fight. But then Dr. Fate would understand Black Adam. Go, no, you're not. We're not the enemies here. Let's talk about this. We don't want to do this, son. Kind of like back down. So when he does his sacrifice at the end of it, it's a much greater thing of it for both of them. Would have been a turn for Black Adam, and it would have been a greater turn for Hawkman. But I think they missed the opportunity.
Dr. Fate, to me, is a fusion of Xavier and oh goodness, the
Doctor Strange.
Not old age is setting in. He would have been a fusion of Doctor Strange and Xavier. Those two together is what Dr. Fate should have been. Dr. Fate should have been the one to say, all right, I understand. Let me show you the progression of the world, because I have the metaphysical power to show you and give you the education of what you have missed over thousands of years. And now let me speak to you as a psychologist, as a friend, as a father, like Dr. Xavier would, and say, now I need to help you to understand where you're at. And Black Adam would have been able to come to the realization that we saw him learn over time, that he understood, yes, I did this wrong when I was alive, and now I have to make up for it, and this is how I will make up for the wrong that I did before. And that's the growth of the hero tale. But it was, those two were thrown in there as window dressing. They were curtains. They were not written well, and so the actors did what they could with what they were given.
Yeah.
But I know Pierce Brosnan is capable of so much more. And I'm sure he probably read it, to Bill's point earlier, he probably read the script and said, well, it's a paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, you got Pierce Brosnan there. You got such a classically trained actor, and he has the gravitas to carry that movie, even beside The Rock. So if you look at that, it's a character he could head to head with it, and he's one of those that can kind of put him in his place and go smack. Because him fighting Hawkman is just fighting Hawkman, and they're just making a mess. But when you have Doctor Fate coming up against Black Adam, he can hold his own with him. So it's kind of like he can go, no, behave. We're here, the father-like figure. And if he would have been presented and given second billing in the movie, then all the other characters, they could have did what they did exactly the same. It would have been what it would have been. It was he's Black Adam's father figure, as Black Adam is the father figure to the little kid. It would have been reflective down the steps. So it would have carried on through the whole movie as we all need guidance. Then at the end of it, when he breaks him out and so forth, and he sacrifices, and you don't know he's gonna, it would have been a great thing, and everyone would have went, oh, but they ruined it. It was Pierce Brosnan. He was a great character. He would have showed the thing on it, and they kind of squandered it because they sidelight him. And the funny thing is, he didn't have to do stunts. It was all CGI. He just had to have his presence there, his talk there, show up in the helmet and stuff on it. So he didn't have to do physical combat with him. You could have got a guy in a stuntman. Yeah, but even with that, is Dr. Fate wouldn't have actually had to fight him physically. Put him in another dimension. Put him here. Show him there. This is here. This is so and so. Just how he did. But I think they were afraid to become too Doctor Strangey, that they kind of pulled away from it.
I think they were afraid of being compared to Marvel, and that's what they need. They have to be able to stand toe to toe with each of these two groups. Have to be able to stand toe to toe with each other. They have to be able to stand up and say, some of the early Superman, those films were done really well, and they stood out, and they were played well. They had great writing. They had great actors and actresses in them, and they were able to play them out. Some of the early Marvel stuff, they were written well. They had great actors and actresses in them, and they were cinematic masterpieces. Both films were done very, very well early on. As they started trying to do other things, then they started to fall into, Marvel was falling into some of the money grab and losing some of the gravitas that they have. And DC went back to the old comic book writing, which was unfortunate because that's a troubling place for them to be. And I'm talking about before the death of Superman, when that year, when they started writing those characters and they started bringing in these more powerful, more potent, deeper characters because they were going to kill off Superman, where you had to have more to the character than just, I'm going to bring in this guy who is supercharged and he's so much more powerful and he's going to just destroy and crush everything. There's got to be more of a story behind it, or the comic book buying audience is not going to go well with this, and you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. So they had to learn to make a better book. They had to learn to write a better story. That was the growth that DC came through. And I saw that and I thought, okay, this is cool. Now we've got a real combat situation between DC and Marvel. They can stand up to each other. And that also took the independents and brought them to the forefront, because a lot of them were writing those deeper stories that people weren't aware of. But suddenly they got picked up. The tales like, Cry for Dawn, Spawn, all of these came about and became much more visible because you started seeing better, deeper writing happening again in Marvel. Marvel brought back some of that good, deep writing years before. And then DC said, shit, we got to do something like this. We have the ability. And they ran with it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think DC has a character copy of a character called Speedball. who is a very tragic superhero who ends up killing a bunch of innocent bystanders, and he has kinetic powers, but he eventually his powers evolve, and becomes, I think, penitent. He becomes like a quasi villain.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does become penitent.
but I mean that's deep and dark for comic books. You don't normally have. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, the
You do have
independents were the only ones who went there. You know, Marvel went there with the Punisher when they redid him, when they brought him back around in the late '80s and early '90s. They really pushed with Punisher to make him that dark, brooding character.
Yeah.
They had that with some of the things, but you're right, Bill. Nobody really dug that deep into the level. Marvel tried, or looked like they were going to try, when they went with the two addicts that overdosed and became
Cloak and
Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger.
That was an opportunity for them to take that same tack. They could go, now we can dive into this, and how are we going to do it? Because the comic book issue I remember was when Punisher showed up for a couple of books in Cloak and Dagger.
Yep.
And they had the hardest time dealing with him because they saved these addicts and these criminals, and they cleaned them and they brought them around. And the Punisher said, nope,
Shoot him
they
dead.
still did all of these things. I'm going to kill them all.
Punisher and Logan and Deadpool kill. That's rare for superheroes. Not even Batman or Spider-Man kills.
Well, you even have like Moon Knight.
Moon Knight is on the. He's killed a couple people.
He's killed. It even though they brought a little bit more of his mental health with it, but he's still a trained killer. So in some of it, depending on the comics on it, he's evolved different times on it. But there are heroes that will kill and that kind of draw that line where people are standoffish on it.
So DC Vertigo has Lucifer, and Marvel has Son of Satan. Who would you pick as Son of Satan?
Like what, for an actor? Like for the movie?
Yes, guy.
That's a tough one because the guy. You ever see the show Lucifer?
Yeah, parts of it.
The guy did a pretty good. I forget the actor's name, but
He's great. Yeah, and the show's looks really neat. He's believable as what's his name from Constantine, or Vito.
Oh yeah.
Or Vito Mortensen from The Prophecy, which is a movie that doesn't get mentioned.
Vito was the scariest devil. It was the scariest Lucifer I ever saw. When I saw that film, it's like, especially when after he eats the heart, and then he says, I love you more than Jesus. Oh, no, I gotta go now. I'm out.
Or the first thing he says to super talented, super hot Virginia Madsen, shut your mouth, bitch, or I'll fill it with your mother's feces. Ew, gross. That, honestly, I really think the guy that wrote Supernatural watched The Prophecy probably like 500 times while he was writing Supernatural, because Supernatural and The Prophecy encapsulate how, if there were devils and demons and angels and all that stuff, that's how they would be. You're not safe on the good side. In fact, you're in just as much peril. Christopher Walken does the finest portrayal of Gabriel that we've ever seen on film in the Prophecy movies, because that's how Gabriel would be.
Yep.
And when he tortures Amanda Plummer, let's go. And she starts crying. No. He's like, fine, I can wait until the stars burn out. It's up to you. So we should go. And she's just crying there in her hospital gown, and he's like, it's fine. No coffee, thank you. because he can't drive a car. But he's insane, and there's no help. You know, Eric Stoltz is. The Prophecy is up there with The Usual Suspects and True Romance. These are amazing movies that everybody's forgotten about.
Yep.
I got to see that at a premiere and they had a premiere here in Scottsdale, and all of the Native American actors came down from the reservation to be at the premiere.
Oh, nice.
And that was an amazing premiere, because they sat and they answered questions and they talked, and we sat for like 30, 45 minutes after the movie, and we're just shooting the breeze like we'd known each other for years. Yeah. And they were doing it with everybody. They were just having a field day. It was a wonderful time. And the movie, like I said, the film itself was like, oh, yeah, this one hits on all cylinders.
We should devote like a couple episodes to here's movies you should, everybody has the list, but there's always the so-and-so introduced me to this movie. So, my dad, my uncle, my friend, my girlfriend, like Hannah's really into Donnie Darko. And I'm sorry that you guys may like it, but that's a crap film. I'm sorry.
It's got elements in it that are good, that people remember about it.
I'll give you
elements.
I still say the scariest movie I ever saw, and I think I told you guys about this before, the scariest movie I ever saw, scared the daylights out of me as an adult, was The Uninvited from 1944.
Yeah,
with Ray Milland and Ruth Hudson. And that one, and there's no blood, there's no gore, there's no guts, but if you watch that on a dark and stormy night, black and white, all the lights are out, and it was just one that really hit home. And when I went to a Fangoria in Anaheim years ago, there was a panel, and it had guys like Tom Savini, and who else did we have on there? Oh, I think Stephen King was there. We had, oh, goodness. Clive Barker was on the panel. There was a number of really good horror authors. And people were asking, what's the greatest horror movie that you can think of? What's the great? And of course, and I shouted out, I said, The Uninvited, 1944, Ray Milland and Ruth Hussey. And they all stopped and they looked at each other, and you could see them talking. That's the one right there. That's the one. There it is.
Why did this come from you?
Idiocracy.
Oh, that is so.
Idiocracy.
That is so prevalent right now.
Scares me and makes me sad.
Oh my god, dude, the Crocs in Idiocracy, and you see them now. Oh my god, talk about predicting the future by not predicting the future. When you see them wearing Crocs,
hold on.
And now you
Crocs are useful in certain industries, like vet techs, the veterinarian industry. They swear by Crocs because they're easier.
The hospitals were using them. Yeah, the hospitals, the nurses in the hospitals, the nurses and the doctors were using them for a long time before they became popular. Before people knew what the hell a Croc was, that shoe and others predecessors to it were very popular because it was something that they could clean them. They could be clean.
They could clean them real easy with all the biohazard.
They could clean and sanitize those, and they could keep them in the surgery areas and in certain areas of the hospital where you needed that level of cleanliness. And they were comfortable enough for that. These people never would have worn them out of there because they knew that they wouldn't necessarily survive walking down an asphalt street. They weren't intended for that.
Yeah.
They were intended for that cold tile, and they gave enough cushion that the doctors and the nurses and the med techs and everybody, they loved them for that reason. I could stand for a 12-hour shift and do these things here and then take those off, and I didn't worry about them again.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty about that movie is that in Idiocracy, where they were projecting the things in the future and how people will react and act, hit so many things that are happening now. You look at it, because with the Crocs thing, the reason I say Crocs is they went with the cheapest shoe that they said what would be popular in the future.
Yeah.
And the Crocs were PFE. They weren't nothing. They were cheap. They could buy them by the dozen because nobody wore them. Nobody happened. They weren't a thing at all yet. They were just a shoe that was out there, and the company was making them. So they put them in the movie. Then Crocs became a thing.
Yeah.
So because of that, it became a thing that you see it now. It's so ingrained. And the whole movie, you look at it, it's a big commentary of what's happening right now. When you look at it, and you're like, oh my God, they predicted the future by doing things.
I love you.
I love you. Look at that. It's just so hysterical. Oh my God, when you watch it now, you're like, you think it was done yesterday. That's how great the movie is. And it was over 20 years ago. Just about, yeah.
Mike Judge,
Think about it.
Mike Judge is kind of a genius. We need to give him more money and time. King of the Hill is amazing. Beavis and Butthead is funny, but the problem is that copyrights and trademarks kind of fucked Beavis and Butthead, because Hannah was like, Beavis and Butthead is on Netflix. And I said, you should check it out. It's actually really funny. And she's like, I watched it, and it was all right. I'm like, what? What about this video and that video? And when they said this, he's like, and she said, there's no videos on there. I'm like, what? And I went onto Netflix, and sure enough, all of them doing commentary on the videos that they're watching is gone. It doesn't exist. So it's like, you just got rid of half the cartoon and some of the funniest commentary, because they're morons and they're just making comments and they have no idea who the band is they're talking about. So they start insulting like really super talented, really super successful people. And that's funny. Also, another hidden gem of Beavis and Butthead that, let me say that again. Another hidden gem of Beavis and Butthead is that they would play obscure videos and make fun of them, and you were like, hey, that song sounds kind of cool, even though they spent 3 minutes making fun of it. I'm going to check it out. And now you've like been introduced to this whole new band that you never knew about, and you're like, this music is awesome! Why didn't I know about this before? And then there's King of the Hill, there's Office Space, and Idiocracy. I mean, I don't think Office Space and Idiocracy did very well at the box office, but as far as cult classics, dude, anybody that's worked in an office, even as a temp for a couple months, can identify with that movie.
Yeah. The reason why you find it hard with Beavis and Butthead is because of MTV.
Yes.
They were MTV, and they did the Beavis and Butthead Does America. Was sponsored by MTV. It's because they owned parts of the copyrights to them, so they put them on their own channel, and they were on Cartoon Network for a little bit, but they were only loaned out to them by MTV. So MTV owns the Beavis and Butthead type of thing.
They really
a good
do.
portion of it.
Beavis and
really
Butthead kind of fueled Rob Zombie's career outside of White Zombie, because every time they played one of those videos, those two idiots went crazy. And then, of course, every 14-year-old watching the show was like, White Zombie, Rob Zombie. And it just kind of, I mean, Rob is awesome. I've actually met him in real life. I talked to him for less than half a minute. So therefore, I can judge his character. Thank you, big fan. Thanks for the job. That was our conversation. Hey, cool. I actually talked to Johnny Five more, his guitar player guy, because he loved The Haunt in 2014. So he came through like 3 times, and my clowns were just mean to him, and he thought it was hilarious. Nobody insults him. He's the not my actors. They went to town on him, and he just loved it. He just absolutely loved it. He was laughing the whole time.
If you really look like what you said, Mike Judge is a genius, because in King of the Mountain, he hit on certain things. King of the Hill. Sorry. Yeah. King of the Hill.
Sorry.
I don't want to say King of the Hill. Because he hit on things socially that you couldn't say out loud, but he left it up to you. Because all the King of the Mountain, King of the Hill, when you look at it, the social things that were happening was all left unsaid. It was insinuated in things,
But, you know,
and it was so.
if you guys get a chance and like and subscribe, viewers at home and on the go, there is a documentary about King of the Hill. It's about an hour long. It's broken up into 3 parts, and Mike Judge makes a very poignant observation. And we've run into this guy in your life if you've lived in the Southwest. And he says, I grew up in New Mexico, and there's always a guy that was born and raised in Texas, but now has to live in New Mexico. You're both already laughing. And they have to move, and all they talk about is how awesome Texas is. It's like, okay, Texas is awesome. I've been there many times. It's really awesome, but you know.
And they don't have to have been born in Texas. They could have been born here locally, moved to Texas, lived there for some time frame, and come back. And it's Texas. We do things different in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, in Texas, we do. Oh, Texas. And
So
you just kind of get to the point.
Yeah.
You're like, if Texas is so great, I'll
why
tell
the
you what.
fuck are you in
I'm
Arizona? Yeah.
That's right. I'm taking up a collection so we can help you move back.
We're going to move your wife's whole family so you can all go there. No, and it's true. You meet that guy, and you meet other East Coast people that are like that. And I've been guilty
New
of that
Yorkers,
myself.
New York,
Yeah,
Yeah.
New York, Pennsylvania,
New York.
Chicago.
Yeah, well, I'm from New York, and go back. We got the
Chicago,
best.
all the Florida, Georgia. But
Yeah.
Hank Hill is kind of like a middle-aged version of that guy. And then if
Yeah.
you think about it,
Yeah.
Bill...
With his propane.
Yeah, and Bill and Dale and Boomhauer are all kind of versions of people you would meet in Texas, people you would meet in Arizona or New Mexico. They're suburb dwellers. They're all from somewhere else. They've all relocated to your little community, or like in King of the Hills sense, they've been friends for a while, and they have this tight little knit group, and newcomers are welcome, but they're not necessarily wanted, as you see in the progression of the series, where they don't discourage people from joining the alley beer drinking, but you kind of have to prove yourself to be among the 4 sitting there drinking beer, which, okay, that's very Texas. All right, no worries. But even so, there's the episode with the old man that they always prank, and then there's the new kids, and then they bring the old man in fighting with the new kids, and they do firebomb the kid's front door. Hey, that bag's got duties in it, doesn't it? Yep, Pops, it's got duties in it. You know. So,
Dude, and
go ahead. Sorry.
with that, it's I like how you have adult humor in it, plus with the kids' humor, because when you look into the subtext, you look at it like, okay, everybody knows Hank's got a real skinny urethra, okay, and
I have a narrow urethra. Yes, I do,
have a
Peggy.
narrow urethra. But then you look at him, and you look at his kid, you look at his friend, then you look at it, and you kind of put 2 and 2 together, and you're like, is he really Hank's son?
Hank's son, or is he Boomhauer's son?
Or is he Boomhauer's son?
Yeah.
Well, and then you look at who's the guy that does the bugs? I'm forgetting his name.
Dale
With his
Gribble.
Dale Dribble, Dale Dribble, and his son. And
That's
it's
not
more on
his
the nose.
son, that's John Redcord's son.
It's on the nose, but you could say the same joke is happening with Hank and his son.
Yep.
But it's not on the nose, because you look at it and you're like, that cannot be his son for how it is, how it's played off. But emotionally, it's like Dribble.
Yeah.
And it is left open where, is it or isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it or isn't it?
This King of the Hill is really, especially Cotton and Con. All the stereotype characters are stereotype characters for a reason. Those people actually exist. You've met them. They've run across your path in life. You may have not worked with them or lived near them or been related to them in one way or another, but you've definitely met them. All right, Missy, we'll have 2 sandwiches and a couple of beers. You know, Cotton he's like a character, you know, out of like a 1940s movie come alive.
But it's such great writing. It's such great writing, like we were talking about the writing itself. It's such great that it's such a character study that you can dive deep into episodes going, there's more subtext to it than what you believe, because there's more than just the surface. You got the regular jokes and stuff that happens, but when you get to the subtext, oh my God, it's such really well written and really well thought of.
And it's fucked up, too, with modern day. Yeah. Hank, and good Hank. Hank, I got me a new wife. Say hello. Wait, didn't we go to kindergarten together? You know, we did. Do you still like finger paints? You know, that's like a surreal... It's like these dudes that go to the Philippines and, whoa, what is going on? Oh, we like
mail order bride.
No, you just went off the island, honey.
Mail order bride, yeah. But the absurdity is so true that you see it all the time. I mean, you think it's stranger than fiction, but it truly happens. But that's the good thing about Mike Judge.
Fiction
he takes things
life, basically.
Yeah, well, life. Look at it. It was some of the absurdity that happened, but you laugh at it because it's somewhat true.
Bingo.
Somewhat true. And it's a great writing about it. That's why we like at it. It's like when you get with Simpsons, the Family Guy. Yeah. You look at it and it's all absurd. It's all taken out of proportion, but it's not far-fetched.
The biggest truth, and, I would go back into customer service if I could get a better paying job there, but it's office space. I spend all day long avoiding X amount of supervisors that are constantly reminding me to do the job that I'm already doing. That's why I kind of like doing security, because I still have to write reports and file things and stuff like that, and do the same stuff over and over and over again. But at least I'm out walking around. I'm not chained to a desk waiting for a phone to ring, which that job's pretty awesome too for the right amount of money. And sometimes you really help people, or sometimes you get a situation where people need help and they've asked other people and they didn't have the fortitude to really look beyond the surface and to take this, pick up Excalibur out of the stone and let's go find what your problem is, ma'am. And then you get that situation solved, and then they're not going to be charged every month, or this is that, or that. I'm going to get my whatever it was. And you're a hero at that moment, and you're going to be forgotten in 6 months. But for that moment, you've solved that other human's problems from here on out. It's over now. The monster's dead. I killed the recurring charge, or whatever it was for whatever job. God, I've had so many phone, because of the radio announcer voice, I've had so many phone jobs. Rob has watched me handle people. We were on Discord one time and I was at work. We were supposed to game. I think we were supposed to play D&D, but it was canceled, but you called anyway. But I ended up working because the game was canceled, and I ended up answering a couple phone calls while he was on the phone with me, so he got to... I can't not be the vaudevillian deep inside me. He has to come out. That's like when I got in trouble at work. Is this about yelling jokes at customers or the internet? What were you yelling at customers? Oh, okay, it's about the internet. They're rather cross with me about posting videos about work, but we talked about it. It's no different than if one of us was being attacked and I took out my phone and started recording the incident. I didn't plan. There was only one recorded incident that would be considered, shenanigans during company time. And that's when I got in a lot of trouble. Like, I had to talk to the manager of HR, and he's super awesome. Go ahead.
Are they mad about the ghost hunting videos or the ones that you're recording? Are they mad about that?
Well, okay, let me start all over.
That's nothing. That really doesn't do nothing unless there's...
Hold on. Okay, so I get there Wednesday, and I get a write up, and I've been late. That's on me. That's poor planning on my part. Something I've been fighting my whole life is I try to cram too many projects into a short amount of time. That's on me. The second thing was I was kind of resisting doing this one report. I was going to do it eventually, but my other supervisor kind of took it as me refusing to do it. So, dude, he was, and then he kind of caught me watching the podcast from the night before. We don't have the numbers, so I have to cheat.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. We love you.
Yeah.
So these are all things that I have done. So I can't be like, no way, man, this is BS. No, it's all me. So I had a meeting with both supervisors and the director, all of them, and this is all my fault. I'm not mad at you guys. I'm not upset. I can't be mad at you for something I messed up. That's like child logic. So later that afternoon, I had to go. I've had 2 meetings with the manager of HR. And the first meeting was, why were you in that office? Well, that's part of my patrol. I go there like twice a day to make sure it's locked up and the alarm's set. And he starts writing that down. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you guys just don't have any clue what we do here. It was like, we check everything, and then we answer all of your calls. And in the meantime, I have to write reports and do lost and found and sell food tickets and locate lost children and handle bruises and scrapes and lacerations and homeless people. And it never ends, which is kind of like, this job is perfect for my personality. Why haven't I worked here before? Hold on, I'll save you in a minute. I'm saving somebody else now. Jesus. Fucking Spider-Man every goddamn day. No wonder I'm drinking more lately. So he didn't know. I mean, he doesn't know. He's the HR. I was like, oh, we didn't know that that's part of your... Yeah, because like Carson, who... Carson wanted to go to the ranch with me on Sunday, and I was like, oh my God, yes, another pair of hands that's younger than me. And then he had a bunch of family stuff come up, which he wanted to meet us tonight and be part of the podcast. And I was like, yes. But apparently he and Ron, he had stuff going on, and I didn't contact Ron. I really should have, but I figured he had stuff going on. Everybody's busy, and I feel bad about pestering them. Be on my show, our show, So I didn't. But like he said in the video, the lady that owned that house was very adamant about not selling it to the resort. And she told her children that after she died, they were not allowed to sell the property to the resort. So as soon as she died, they sold the property to the resort. The house is awesome. Like, you don't feel comfortable in there, but it's cool. I would love to live in there. But it's an office. And that's half of it is Paul's office and the other half is Steve's office. Well, Paul gets there in the morning and he leaves at like 4. Steve gets there at like midnight, and he repairs golf carts, trucks, vans, cars. What do you got? All of the bell desk stuff. He's the main mechanic. So we go there a lot of times. We didn't see anything. I've never seen or heard anything, but I definitely feel like I do not belong here and somebody doesn't want me there. Now, it's nothing compared to the different point of view kitchen, which, yeah, I can't wait to go back. It's the most uncomfortable building in the whole area. So I don't know what's going to happen because the three questions were you, why were you there? Well, it's part of the patrol. Oh, okay. Are you uploading during working hours? Oh, no. It's common knowledge that I have a super old Android phone and Ting is a provider. So everyone on my team and in my life knows that, oh, excuse me. No, I don't upload anything anywhere online on my phone. Ting charges me out the ass. They're a great provider, and I do love them so, but probably switching to Mint soon because
Mhm.
Ting's service lately has kind of declined. Are you editing any of these videos during working hours? Well, we've already discussed the phone, and I can barely get my email to work on my office computer. So if you think that I can edit video on that, you're a bigger believer than I am because no fucking way, dude. It can barely play YouTube videos. Watch this trailer for Conan the Barbarian. Hold on. Okay, wait. Hold on. Let me close something else. Maybe that'll help. Hold on, Tanner. Yeah. So then it was like, they were basically two, okay, he's not a psycho. Because as desperately, and I've talked to him many times, not just as a worker, but as security. I've had to go up there when they fire people for more that pick a reason.
All sorts of things. Yep.
Oh, dude, it's a resort.
Yeah. You got to do crazy stuff, and people go think they can get away with it, but
I can't believe you showed up drunk for a fourth time in a row, dude. We got to fire you now. Which sucks, because I talk to you every day, but now I'm escorting you off the property. Actually, I'm escorting you into your, Uber, since you can't drive off the property. So, I don't know what's going to happen. We don't really have the numbers. We're not making any money. But I also get the aspect of this is a business, this is their business, and there are two types of people who come to stay at the resort. I am here for the convention. I have a super busy day tomorrow. I need it quiet. I want room service now, and everything will be fine. And then there's your other group of, yeah, what do you mean the pool closes at 11? Well, because it's posted on the sign, the pool closes at 11. And, oh, man, the group on Saturday was really drunk and really having a good time. I had to use all my Ren Fair tricks to get them out of the pool. All right, let's go. We all have to get out of the pool. It is 11:15. We've got to go. This is pool shoot. Yeah, I know. It's all Father Time's fault. I hate him, too. He's a jerk.
you should have went.
That's...
You should have went, hey, wait till the water turns blue.
Well, this one dude was, staring me down. It's like, dude, I'm here with, 4 other security guards. You going to fight us all because you want to swim?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, his girlfriend immediately got up and started, picking up towels and shit. And that's what I started doing because the rest of the security guards like, Bill, you don't have to pick up towels. It's like, no, dude, it's psychological. If I'm picking up towels, that really means this area is closed. It's not like, you need to get out of here. It's closed. It's, okay, let's go. Oh, I'm going to help out the housekeeping group because they work very hard cleaning your rooms. Meanwhile, grabbing aluminum cans the entire time was all part of my diabolical scheme. Anyway, whose wallet is this? There's a pair of Crocs. Oh, look, flip-flops. Whose watch? Yeah, it kind of helps.
Yeah, it's all psychological. You're giving them the hint. You're giving him, hey.
So far, it's non-fail. There's only been one super old nasty little Jewish lady during Passover that was like, no! Ma'am, everybody else is leaving, and we're going to kick you out, whether you want to be kicked out or not. So, I'll get a dolly and I'll wheel your ass out of here if I have to.
It's like, how would you like your stay?
Yeah.
In your room or in the jail?
You're like maybe 100 pounds and 80 years old. Do you really think you're going to win this war? I respect you, and you're adorable on one level, but on the other level, you're just a sad little girl in an old lady body, and you're taking it out on me, and I had nothing to do with it.
I have no problem getting 3 of my buddies, picking up the chair that you're sitting in, walking you outside
Yeah.
the pool, locking the pool, leaving the chair there, and wishing you a wonderful evening and giving you a coupon for a free drink
Yeah.
over at the bar.
There we go. I'm sorry. No, you're not. Actually, yes, I am. And if you're meeting me in real life, I fucking care about people I shouldn't in life. So listening to me say, I'm sorry, it actually means I'm actually sorry because there's nothing I can do about this. And I'm sorry about that. I am. So I don't know what's going to happen because I also, if you are watching at home and you go on my YouTube channel, and I think I posted it on. I have to look if I posted it
I
on.
saw it on Facebook or something like that.
Well, no, the one where we go to the Hidden Valley Pool. The Hidden Valley Pool has been closed for like 10 years, and we went up there, and I said that's the only place that it's like. Okay, we went up there, and I pulled out my phone and started recording because it was myself and Fabian and my boss and Tanner, and nobody goes up there. It's off limits.
Do you think they know about your channel? Do you think they might be looking it up now, or
They watched all my videos. I was so happy. That means my views go up.
you got fans?
That was part of it. And all of my videos about Tapatio are positive. There's rabbits in them, and coyotes, and jackrabbits, and roadrunners, and sunsets. Lots of sunsets. I've only actually done 3 ghost hunting videos there. We're not supposed to make videos, but, dude, this place is amazing. There should be a bunch of videos, and you can't stop the customers from posting them. How come there's a caveat where I'm not allowed to post?
Oh, because you work for them. They don't want you to let out the secrets.
No secrets. It's
Well-
haunted as fuck. That's the secret. It's super
The only-
haunted. That's the secret.
The only thing I think they might have a problem with if you're showing their offices or something that might be
Oh,
private.
I would never
But
do that.
everything outside, there's no expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
So outside and stuff, you can film whatever you want because there's no expectation of privacy. But like in a private office or something they may have on the building board, they might have an issue with that.
Well,
you know.
and this is what we talked about it for like an hour. I'm like, I am 53 years old. I know the difference between career professionalism and carnival circus atmosphere. And my plan is to rent a couple rooms and go around the area on Halloween night. But this is going to be ninja maneuvers. This isn't going to be fucking, the midway and here comes the gladiators. It's going to be quiet because I don't want to disturb the paying guests. Not only that, we were just talking about it a second ago. A lot of people come for conventions, for work, to do an interview. They're meeting somebody. They're having a reunion. They don't want to be bothered with the paranormal and other crap like that. They want a good night's sleep. So the last thing they want to hear about is I tell families and groups of people especially about the Sunset Cabana. Oh, the Sunset Cabana, that's the haunted pool. And I tell them the truth. That poor guy 3 years ago went into the water and never came back out. Nuh-uh. I read the report, dude. He died. A bunch of other coworkers confirmed it. You be the judge. And weird shit happens in that area. Do I have an explanation for it? It's on the side of a mountain. So far, I still have a job. The there's no, like, the director of HR they have to have a meeting, but these two meetings that I had with him were basically like, okay, he's not a psycho meetings. Because I'm not trash talking the company because I love the area. Everything's great. I'm not like disgruntled or mad or anything. Even during these podcasts, I told him we talk everybody up. I don't have like enemies at work. I've spent all Memorial Day. Well, not all. I worked a lot of overtime this week for the Memorial Day weekend, and they started showing movies at the pool at the falls. So they've scheduled extra security people so that we can stand at the entrance gate to check for contraband.
Okay.
So all day long, I have been asking women with purses this size, "You don't have a case of beer in there, do you?" "I don't know. It might be bigger on the inside than it is." "You don't have a collapsible bong in there, do you?" "No, we have it in our room." "That's fine. It's by the pool. You cannot do that. There's children running around. You can get as high as you fucking want in your room. We're not going to bother you as long as you're not being an asshole." Because if you're not bothering anybody, who cares? Really, who cares? There's like 4 dispensaries within walking distance. Who cares? So, I mean, obviously if they're being, security is security. If they're smoking it by the pool, oh, we've got a problem. If they're doing it in the workout center or in the general area, oh, I am definitely going to come and stop you, which makes me mad because now I got to bust somebody for something I do in my recreation, and there's nothing more that, infuriates. It makes me a hypocrite. So, but that's life. Other than that,
Yeah.
Most people are compliant. They follow the rules. They joke along. They make, everybody wants to have a good time. We don't want to have a problem. They watch the movie. Everything's fine. It was good. So I don't know what's going to happen with the ghost hunting because I told him that my diabolical plan was to do a live podcast on Halloween, which we're getting closer to that. That's like 4 months away. I need to figure out the whole remote. We'll probably have to use one of your guys' Guy, we'll use your YouTube channel and you can just do a live feed.
A live feed from it and just use it from there.
Well, I mean, we really only need one camera doing a live feed. We can record from others and just walk around.
Yeah. I got a laptop, so we can do that. And they probably have Wi-Fi there.
Yes, they do.
But
I don't want to get anybody, especially myself. I don't want to get anybody else in trouble. But just about everybody from all the departments are excited about being a part of this because, I mean, yeah, they want to be, seen during the podcast, but there are people who don't like the paranormal that work there. There is a woman, I don't want to say her name. She's the opposite of Rob. She's a ghost magnet. Like they follow her through the building. And she hates it there. She can't wait to get out of there.
Interesting.
Yeah. Same thing with Wendy, my coworker. She will not do the ballroom alone. I have to do it every night.
Oh, to walk through it?
Oh, I did it Saturday. I sing all the way through it. I love you, baby. Because the acoustics are amazing in the ball. It's 2 stories. It's a 2-story area. The building feels scary to her, and every time she's gone there, something fucking weird has happened, so she's afraid of the building. I saw an arm. Yeah, this place is fucking haunted. I don't know why you're scared when you know that it's haunted. Just accept it. Go on. Because the rest of us don't like the building, but we'll go do it. She's the only one that flat out refuses. Like, okay, I'll do that, but you got to do these other 3 things to make up for it. Because locking up the ballroom, it's not a 5-minute job. This is a 3-story building with multiple entrances and exits.
Oh yeah, got to go through each level by level by level.
Yes.
About 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes to lock it up.
Minimum of a half an hour. I have found that if I go to the third story and lock everything up there and work my way down like reverse Mario, Donkey Kong,
It's a lot better, right?
it's more efficient because the bottom floor has the most doors and the kitchen.
Oh,
The kitchen, I've never experienced anything, but it is a hotbed of paranormal activity. People have been standing at one end of it, having a full-on conversation, and then heard what sounded like an entire stack of metal trays violently thrown to the ground, only for them to come running around the corner because it's kind of shaped like a U, this weird U, and nothing. Not a thing. So, I don't know. Sunset Cabana is haunted. Ballroom, I don't know. It might be more of electrical. Might be a terror cage, fear cage, more than an actual haunting. Because sometimes I feel a lot of stuff, and then other times, not really. There's parts of the main building that are super haunted. You could feel somebody there standing next to you, but there's nobody. Highland, a little bit. Highland, like ballroom, like something's about to happen. People say they don't like how the point in time feels. It kind of feels comfortable to me. Maybe the ghost doesn't have a problem with me there. The different point of view, whatever is in there does not want anybody in the building at all.
different point of view, huh?
1,800 feet above sea level at the top of the mountain. Closes at 11 p.m. They lock the gates. Yes, you're thinking like I'm thinking. So that's the other thing, too, is I don't want to risk my job because, like I told the manager of HR, if I won the lottery tomorrow and I was a millionaire and I paid off my house and everything else, I'd still come work here part-time. Just have access to the property to do videos. And now you guys don't want me to do videos. If anything, I'm kind of like your fat old cheerleader. And then I explained to him how the algorithm worked because he doesn't understand. He didn't, like most Gen X's, we don't know. We haven't really used it to our advantage. It's something that we're behind the curve on. Yeah, because this is how I explained it to him. If you invented a widget in the 80s and you wanted to sell it to everybody, you'd have to buy for magazine and newspaper advertising. You'd have to buy spots in movies for product placement. You'd have to get on the local television shows, the local radio. Now, if you want to sell something or yourself, just YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, all of the things. And it's better now because if you're like the blacksmithing thing. So we're doing blacksmithing on this channel, and we go around and we subscribe and like all of the other blacksmiths that are doing all of the other blacksmithing stuff. Suddenly, when a completely unrelated person to us looks up blacksmithing, not only are they going to get all of the normal stuff, they're going to get us too because we're connected to that network.
Oh.
And this kind of blew his mind. He didn't really understand how multi-layered it was. Like I explained, like if you're doing car repair and you have a wrench that you love and you post it and then you put it for the Amazon thing and then like fucking, well, I didn't say that during the meeting. Then a whole bunch of people order that wrench off of Amazon. Once it gets to a certain level, Amazon's going to start giving you a kickback for posting that. I had no idea. Dude, there's a lot of... This is just like learning about insurance or APRs or, other stuff. That it's like, why the fuck did you teach us this in high school? And he was like, wow. I'm like, so in a sense, with YouTube especially, it behooves everybody to get along and play nice, because bad mouthing other people kind of it gets you likes for the short term. It's
It
like,
also gets you lost.
yeah, it's like the force. The good is the long con. The evil is that's over shortly. Is I post snarky comments and I get numbers for the short term, but really our best numbers are the ones that watch the show, that benefit from the restoration, from our discussions, who are going to watch our the one-off role-playing game we're going to do more ghost hunting, to do more blacksmithing and ceramic works and automobiles. And I keep talking about steampunking. I've actually, my backyard is a mess, but I've actually been getting it organized. So I'm going to hopefully I started bringing all those parts, but I didn't think things through and prep first. So I've been acquiring pallets to kind of like make a makeshift random deck in my backyard to kind of organize everything, and so far success.
Good. Because that'll help out with basically what you have. Go for it.
Yeah.
Good.
We were talking. Oh, go ahead, guy.
Oh, you okay? So the only reason I said that, and when I heard you say that, I was like, because they could easily put the kibosh on it, and this could have brought them on the radar that they might be keeping an eye out for it. So the guerrilla secret attack is out. We no longer have the advantage of secrecy. They already know something's already.
They know I'm planning to do it anyway. I'm basically going to do it anyway, and because that's it. We're not going to be obnoxious. I don't want to wake up guests. These are paying customers. I've been in customer service for 35 fucking years, and customer service is a serious thing to me, as far as like, hey, you can be a manager at a lot of stuff, but there are people that make things, and there are people that make lasting bonds with individuals.
How about this? How about this?
Go, man, go.
When you do the ghost, we broadcast it on Halloween, but it's not recorded on Halloween.
What do you mean?
We broadcast it on Halloween, but it's not recorded on Halloween.
So you want to do it like the day before, is what you're saying?
Sometime before.
Okay. Well,
you know what?
No. We get monthly emails from the marketing and the sales department. So again, I don't want to be down there doing ghost hunting if there's a convention, because now we're pissing off paying customers, we're pissing off the ballroom staff, we're pissing off the kid. It's a club sandwich of, like, people are always amazed that, how did you know we were doing this, that they called security? Dude, there's an army of people that work here, and they're all watching you. I can't tell you how many times that security didn't know right away. We're not omniscient. Bell desk told us. Prop ops told us. Housekeeping told us. So many other, the people, the room service told us, because they're everywhere at random times. And you're on the second floor being an asshole. The people on the fourth floor above you are fucking tired of hearing it. They called us.
Well,
who called us?
You
We got a call. Who matters? What is it? Who called? It doesn't fucking matter. We're here. You're an asshole. We can't say that. You're causing a disturbance. There, that's the...
Yeah. Because you figured you do it on Halloween, and with it being the holiday and stuff, people are going to be up doing stuff, and then what's going to happen, that's a bad time to do it, because that's like going out and partying on New Year's Eve. Everyone's doing it.
Hold on, though. It's a resort on Halloween, and from...
Correct.
I started on November 6th, but what I heard about Halloween, it was kind of tame. Like, oh, New Year's Eve. Dude, it was a cemetery. Nothing happened. It was quiet. Passover was oh my God. Christmas, crickets. So I I agree with your point of view 100%, but honestly, it's busier now. It's going to start slowing down around October, they keep saying.
Of course, but we don't have to do it on Halloween.
I'm
I like
guy,
it.
you're
We
you're
broadcast
dude,
all this.
you're just like putting shiny things in front of me. I would love to do multiple nights where we could patrol
Now you're getting it.
because there there's a point where security is super busy and there's a lot going on. And then about a half an hour before the shift's over, it kind of slows down. Everybody goes to bed. You know, we've closed a lot of areas. We need to focus on 1 a.m. and later, midnight and later. Everybody's asleep, and that's when the weird shit really starts happening. Alarms go off for no reason. Elevators go up and down for no reason. There's you know, this room is open. We just locked that room 4 hours ago. What do you mean it's open? Well, the door's open. Who was in there? Go around, talk to housekeeping, talk to prop ops, talk to this. Nobody. Why the fuck is this door unlocked? So we already have that going on. Here's the big debate. Is stuff happening during the day and we don't notice because we're just so absolutely distracted by the customers? Or do you notice more at 2, 2:30, 3 a.m. because it's dead quiet and there's no one around?
Good question.
There's two noises, air conditioners and the random car on 7th Street. That's
That
it.
drives by.
That's it. That's it. And maybe a coyote pack has taken something down. Other than that, that's when I was coming back from the workout pool and I saw the little redheaded little old lady. And it freaked me out
Redheaded?
because, well, I didn't know that. I thought it was an old woman. And then I realized after looking around, wait a minute, I haven't seen. You get to see, I know, you get to see the people in the rooms throughout the day. No, dude, she was like 85.
Yeah, but still,
Sugar mama, you never know.
sugar mama.
But you notice people. Okay, here's a perfect example. When I got to work on Saturday, there was a couple that was having a huge argument, and that was 3 p.m. I also encountered them having another huge argument at 10:30. So it's like, oh, it's her, it's him. Okay, what's going on? He won't open the door. Looked everywhere, all this other stuff. Dude wasn't even in the room. He walked up to the discussion. It was like, okay, show me your ID. Okay, you're you. Yay, back in the room. Get out of here. Go to bed. So there's the random party animal, but that's unique. For every one super drunk guy I've got up at 2 in the morning, there's 150 other rooms that are sound asleep and nobody got drunk and was being a nuisance. And
Wow.
like the one dude with I closed the adult pool one night and I was staying late because they needed me to cover for one of the overnight guys for a little bit. And I said, hey, you guys got to go. The pool's closed at 11. And I ended up helping them later in the night. But at this point, we were just kind of, hey, sorry, you got to get out of the pool. Yeah, I know. Father Time's a jerk. Let's go. We got to go. And while I'm getting them out, I'm trying to lock all the doors or the gates. And while I'm doing that, two biker-looking guys and this woman came through. And I think we talked about this before. That ties into you look like Mike. Oh, my God. Who the hell is Mike? He's my doppelganger. So later we ran into that guy and, I need to get to my car. It's like, okay. So there's sometimes, because people check in at 2 a.m., people check in at 3 a.m. It's not uncommon. It happens. But they're not going to bother us. They're tired. They want to go to the room. They don't give a shit that we're ghost hunting. Not only that, it's split. I would say 54% of the people that I talk to want to hear about death and ghosts and all that other stuff. The other percentage, they don't want to hear that. They want to go right to bed. They want a sound sleep. They want clean sheets, and they don't. No. And I don't blame them. You're out of your element. You're in a foreign area. You're in a strange room. Of course, you don't want to hear. Back in '93, old Johnny Johnson murdered 8 people in your room. No, they don't want to hear that. So not only that, we can't really divulge a lot of the personal information about the people that's on the reports that are in the system.
Yeah.
That's private information.
Yeah, and that would definitely get you really into trouble and
I don't want
can
to
get you.
I don't want to be sued by some family because we're like, dude, it sucks so bad that you mentioned my son, and now I'm like, I can't even pay my bills. There's no way. Why would you sue me? I'm poor, It's not going to help. But here we
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't use that information if you wanted to or anything with that. It just poor taste and stuff. So it's a non-factor with it.
There's about 17 to 20 reports about people that have taken their own lives in the resort and on the golf course next to the resort. The place is spooky at night. You always feel like somebody's watching you. You always feel like somebody's over your shoulder. We need to record this stuff. It's all over Reddit how haunted Tapatio Cliffs is. But most of the customers probably don't want to hear about that. They don't want to be watched while they're sleeping.
Yeah. Well, it's getting the logistics plan and executing and doing it with flawlessly and just moving like a military team.
I think we could do it. I think it would be good. Because even if we get nothing, which is probably going to be the case. I mean, we're not professional paranormal investigators. We're a bunch of geeks with technology and know-how.
With a phone and a camera. Oh.
And that's all you need today. But they're concerned, like you said. They don't want me posting behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm not going to go into the finance office and start posting everything. I'm not 19. I know better.
You know what would help with the strategy and stuff on how to do it and what the best viewpoint is?
Yeah. Well, now they know.
It is if they have any of the floor plans. You know how they have the cutouts for people visiting and stuff? Hey, this is our ballroom, like when they go to sell a wedding?
No. I can get that, no problem. No, my concern is... this is the way I look at it. Wednesday, I get called up there. I have a very long meeting. The very next day, I get called up there again, and I have I think I was up there for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I have since posted a video, and nobody has said a word.
Oh.
So, again, not like we're making any money. It's not like we have any influence. We have 13 followers. I have 523. That's in the scope of Facebook, or what is this? YouTube, sorry. That's spitting in the ocean. Not only that, I work really hard. I work very well with all the other departments because one hand washes the other. And the videos, because even the manager was like, oh, your videos are positive and sunsets. And I'm like, well, yeah, I love this place. It's beautiful. More people need to come and check it out. I'm not sitting there going, this place sucks. Look at John here. He's a horrible employee. No, dude, that's not...
That's my job.
Yeah, you don't know anything about me.
My job is to go in and tell people how horrible everybody is around there because I don't work there. I can be a disgruntled customer.
I don't want that job.
No.
That job sucks. I don't even being
Where's the manager?
the security. I don't want to be the man. I kind of have to be the man when we get to a certain point, and I'm gonna do it. But I'd rather negotiate down. You know, let's de-escalate.
Yeah, dude.
Dude,
No
why
point.
are you
No
throwing
point.
stuff? What's wrong? Come down here and talk to me. You're mad at who? Okay, they're not gonna come by anymore. Come here, come help me. Come tell me what you know. Like I had a really beautiful blonde was really intoxicated. Prop Ops found her. Prop Ops tried to talk to her. She didn't really want to talk to him. I rolled up. Hey, come on, let me help you. She jumped in my cab, my cart.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. All of her answers were slow. You're under the influence. Take me to my car. That's a really bad idea. Why don't I take you to your room? No, take me to my car. Okay. So then we parked behind her car. Can I turn on my air conditioning? You can turn on your car all you want, but I'm not moving my golf cart because the moment you drive off the property, I'm calling 911. And I really, really, really don't want to do that. So, security is like fishing. I'm just going to sit behind you until you make the right decision. And sure enough, like 10 minutes later of me just sitting there and answering calls and then walking around because I don't want to get killed if she suddenly throws it into reverse. Dude, I'm dead. It's a golf cart.
Yeah.
My old fat ass isn't going to be able to jump out of the way fast enough, especially with my knee acting up again. And finally, she opened the door. She stumbles out and stumbles to the back. Hi. Can you give me a ride to my room, or are you going to keep being an asshole? You know, I'd really just rather give you a ride to your room. And I did. And she didn't say a word to me the entire time. Oh my God, I just saved your life. Okay, Spider-Man, let's go. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just doing my... And she got to the room, and she had a car key, which means you have a fucking room here. Why are you messing around with your car? Dude, if you want his dick that bad, just have him come to the hotel. You can make all the noise you want. We're just going to go, hi, can you keep it down? Thanks. I don't want to be up here. You don't want to hear. Okay, bye. And as soon as she opened the door, she was there for a family celebration. And whatever female was in the room, oh, hi. No respect. I tell you, no respect. No respect at all, I tell you.
Ronnie Dangerfield. Yep.
That's our life. So,
Oh, sorry.
you know, on one hand, you cunt. On the other hand, you're welcome. It's all right. No good deed goes unpunished.
Punished. No good deed goes unpunished. Yeah, but you're not doing it for the thank you.
No!
A lot of times you do it for the thank you.
Here was a lost person that was confused, inebriated, and about to make some really bad decisions. And I, in good conscience, couldn't let that happen because, dude, what the hell? Sleep it off.
It's not worth it. Yep. Yeah. Not worth it, yeah.
So,
and you could tell. You could tell.
I mean, she was mid-40s, early 50s. She wasn't, like, super young. So, it was just more of the, you know better than this. Come on now. You want to kill a family of 5? Go right ahead. The problem is we're liable if
they leave, yeah.
Why did you let her go? I'm a I don't, well, because I'm stupid. So we can't have that. So it just hurts, that you're trying to do the right thing, and that's what not just the police officers, but also a lot of military, Coast Guard, and it's Memorial Day. We forgot to mention that, and to thank everybody that didn't make it home from active service. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Sometimes doing the right thing is meaning that you have to keep something from someone.
Yeah, it really is.
It really does. Yeah.
Well, I'm negotiable. I negotiate. Let's talk about this. I'm not a total dick. I don't, black and white is black and white, but most of the world is gray. I have had a couple people. You don't have a case of beer in there. Actually, we do. Do I have to take it back to the room? It's almost 8. If you guys be cool and don't bring it out until after that place closes, I'm willing to look the other way. Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, dude, if you're, but if I hear that this conversation is null and void and now you got to get the hell out of here with that. And I've done that. I had these 2 dudes snuck a cooler in. And the manager, get him out of here. Okay. Hey, I come here all the time. Well, then you would know not to bring the fucking cooler in here with a bunch of outside alcohol. I get it. It's expensive. I get it. You want to have your own. Be nonchalant about it. Be fucking crafty. Where's your subterfuge? You just failed as a thief.
Just feel this.
You totally
I figured out what you were doing.
Yeah, you totally failed on your bluff. And I gave him the gentleman's agreement. And the next thing I know, the manager calls me up at the office and starts tearing me a new one. And she had every right. He's still in there and he was rude. And I want his ass out now. Dude, now we're in a whole nother area. I walked up to him. Hey, what is this? Or no, I walked up and I said, hey, it's time. What is this? Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope.
We're past the I'm sorries. I am now not. I'm the one they send first. I'm the nice guy. People after me are not as nice. Tanner has no time for your shenanigans. Wendy likes to bust people. Fabian has an endless amount of paperwork. You're taking up his time. Seriously, the dude is like constantly writing reports or reading reports or editing reports. Do you really want to, I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want to write reports. Just fucking get out of here. And then he finally put the cooler on his shoulder and left. And not to be stereotypical, it was just fucking little wiry Hispanic dude. Dude, come on. There's kids everywhere. This isn't the adult pool. Sorry. Work. Yeah, that's the problem with work. I rant about customers breaking the rules. I don't rant about my coworkers or the brass. I don't have a problem.
Oh, yeah.
I talk to the general manager, John, all the time. He's a nice guy. No problem at all. Hey, can you do this? Absolutely. Hey, I've given him a ride to his car several times. I'm security. I just happened to be there when he stepped out of the lobby. Hey, Bill, can you give me a lift to the... I don't want to walk. Dude, I don't blame you. Jump in. Which car is it? Oh, it's that one. John, there's 4 cars there. I don't know what car you drive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's this kid. He just told me. I'm like, okay, thanks. That one doesn't help when you point to a row of 8 of them. I need a color and a make and a model, dude. Not necessarily a year. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Like, that's like, yeah. How do you like the GM? There, I just told you. No problem at all. Big fan of John. The best was the last convention and the woman that was all pissed off about the one room that the guy
one room.
4175. She asked to be moved, and I heard all about it, and then they ended up moving her, and she kept complaining about the guy next door. He's creepy. He's creepy. He's creepy. But I never paid attention to it because on the weekend, if there's 4 of us, different people are handling different things. So a call happened, and other security people handled it. So I'll read the report at the end of the night. I don't necessarily know what's happening through the course of the night if I don't have time, because there's constantly lost and found, there's phone calls, there's like lockouts are our biggest thing. Hi, can you go to 41? It's John Johnson. He locked himself out of his room. And it's always the same. The guy's standing there. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Dude, don't worry about it. You're on vacation. You're in a strange place with keys that you don't normally carry in a weird room. It's fine. It's fine. And you let them in, you check their ID, but like that is the majority of the, hey, can you go calls?
Oh, yeah.
Or the lock isn't working. So then we have to go there, and sometimes it's a lock issue, sometimes it's a battery issue. Same thing with the safe. Oh, the room in 3170, the safe isn't working. Okay, so I have to take the kit there, open the safe with the little handheld thing that pops it open. It's from 1985. And then I have to take the back off and take all 4 batteries out and scrub all the connections, because a lot of the times they're super corroded because nobody's changed these in a couple years, and or 6 months, depending on which room and which area it is. But still, that takes time. That's not a 5-minute job. That's a 45-minute job, because I have to drop the little screw like 6 times. God damn it. Just get it started with the Allen wrench. God damn it. So that takes a little bit of a time. But those are the majority. I tried to use comedy and levity and everything. So one of the best things I've found is to walk up and I go, "You're not holding the ice bucket, are you? Our law and SOP dictates that I can only make fun of you if you're holding the ice bucket." And honestly, I thought it would be a big thing, but it's not. Only like one person in 6 months was like, I was getting ice and the door locked and the key's on the inside. Thought this would be a lot more common. Okay, but I tell them it's common and it makes them feel better. A little white lie never hurt, right?
No. It happens all the time. The ice buckets in this resort are actually magically imbued with the ability to make you forget your key. Trust me, it happens. I've seen it happen. There's a little wizard that lives in the basement apartment, and he does this on a regular basis.
He's a son of a bitch.
The bucket makes things disappear.
This bucket can travel through walls, time, and space. Ooh. Yeah. No, and there are customers that are dicks, but dude, 95% of them are just there to have a good time. They're either first timers or multiple repeat offender returners. Some of them are traditionalists. We used to come here when I was a kid. I hear that a lot, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Return visits. Wow.
People come because you can get a day pass and get a room for the day and a cabana and then watch a movie and then go home. At like 10 o'clock. The movie starts at 7:30. The first night for Friday was Mohana 2, which I've never seen. I heard that it was playing because I got to look up the nature trail. I got to turn on the pickleball lights. I got to turn them off. I got to turn them on. I got to lock this gate. Tokoloma. At one point, housekeeping has to be let in there because they show up like hours after the place is already, like the place closes. Tokoloma Spa closes at 6, so housekeeping's in there at like 7:10, 7:20. But I have to unlock the door, turn off the alarm, and then lock them in there because creepy dudes come up and watch the women clean the spa. Dude, just watch porn. leave her alone. She's really
Wow.
busy. Just so many other rooms to clean there. Those women are busy. Leave them alone.
Here's a list of soft porn websites. Go back to your room.
Yeah.
Here's
You
this
can't
one.
only-
I like that one the best. So, and then I got to let them out. So you're like in the middle of doing something, and ring, ring, ring. Hello, security office. This is Bill. Oh, Takalama. Okay, I'll be right there. So then I got to go let him out, and that that was fun because Milady's she, or I, as I call her, Miss Cuba. We talk through her phone because I don't know enough Spanish to communicate with her, and she doesn't know enough. She's still learning English. So she's like,
Google Translate.
yeah. So she hands me her phone. This was like a month or two ago. There was a full moon, and it was raining at the same time. It was like a month or two ago. Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
So I wrote her this. I'm sorry that took so long. I was out on the golf course fighting werewolves, and then they teamed up with Bigfoot because I had no idea that it was that night that they do ballroom dancing. Bigfoot teaches the werewolves how to, and she just laughs at me. She's like, "You're out of your mind." She's very married, and I flirt with her, but she sees me as a friend. She calls me amigo all the time. So I just, I try to make her laugh all the time as best I can since there's a language barrier.
We need to remind people of the 6th Saturday of every month. They have the subterranean worm races.
I ended up using the Bigfoot and the werewolves, and I'll have to use that one now too. Because these two ladies were playing pickleball, and they hit the ball over the fence, and they called us. It's like, can you unlock the door? No. Why not? No. I'm not going out there. You can go out there. I'm not going out there. Why? Oh, Bigfoot is teaching the werewolves how to ballroom dance. I'm not going anywhere near that area. Her friend busted up laughing, but she just looked at me. I'm like, just give me a second. Click, open. Here's your ball. Thank you. And her friend is still laughing. I'm like, I know. I thought it was funny too. I got to get my laughs when I can.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I like, because they don't, like, Dan doesn't mind, but like Jordan and Tanner, and they don't want to work the door at the falls. Meanwhile, I have a blast because this is just like being out in front of the shop at Ren Fair. I don't have to sell anything. I can just stand there and fuck with people. You don't have a case of beer in that diaper bag, do you? Collapsible bong, bunch of heroin. No. Oh, you're boring.
Collapsible.
Yeah. Oh, and I tried a new line yesterday on Sunday, and not only cracked up a whole line of people, but I got oh crap. I don't know what her name is, but she's really young. She's like 22. But I wish we had met her at the beginning of Worldwide Villains because she is an artist, and I've watched her draw like alleyways and like cityscapes. So it's like, whoa. So you ever thought about doing comic books? So they give their room number, they give their name, they get a wristband, and they ask for towels. And behind them is a massive stack of rolled up towels. So when they're done talking and she's done talking, and I I've started doing this. So walk up to the customer. I'd check those towels if I were you when I get them. I heard that every third one is fake, made out of paper. You ever pulled a napkin off your whole body? So even the girl behind the counter, she busted up laughing. I'm like, okay, that's a good one. And every time I said it out, the rule of comedy, I said it and they laughed. I should say it 800 more times. So, and it's a constant new flow of people. So towards the end, she was like, ah, but she was really tired and not feeling well. So, but yeah, that's what my cartoon brain does when I'm stuck at an outpost.
You have the opportunity to have a lot of fun with folks out there, because just sitting here listening to you, I'm getting all kinds of, the really bad
Dad
ideas, like,
jokes.
hey, are you guys here for the International Ferret Racing Association convention? No? Okay, just checking.
I was doing that too. Oh, well, not that one. That was good.
You have you signed up for the cross country ballroom dancing?
I had a cross country ballroom dancing. Roller fucking tremble your way to fitness. I love George Carlin. No, there was a line of people that were like in our age group, and then a younger family came in and they tried to sneak into the exit. And I said, no, you can't do that. You got to come in and get your wristbands and everything. I said, I appreciate that. In through the outdoor. I'm a Led Zeppelin fan too. And of course, they just looked at me. But the other older people were like, ah! I'm like, thanks.
Don't forget about the No Club Golf Tournament that's coming up.
No
No
club.
club.
That's good. Well, because you got to keep it topical. You don't want to be, It's
Hey,
Arizona,
I told you about
it's Arizona, and there's nothing but bikinis as far as the eye can see. So you want to keep it G-rated.
I learned how to do a lot of that stuff when I was on the ambulance. I think I told you guys about the time I took a terminal patient in for one of his last radiology or radiation treatments.
Uh-oh.
And they had the cameras. In the old days, you still had the CRTs, and they had cameras so they could watch the guy in the MRI machine, in the radiation device. And so I spotted that the camera was on, and as we're walking in, I got the family with me, and we're taking in the patient. And I said, "Hey, smile, you're on chemo camera." And he smiled and laughed. And we took him in and took care of everything. And we brought him back out. We were taking him home. And I think it was the wife pulled me aside. And she said, "That's the first time he's laughed in months. Thank you very much." I was like, all right, I'm going to keep some of these things in my top pocket, carry them with me.
Yeah. No, one of the guys from Prop Ops that's been there forever, he's like, I was listening to you today, and the do you have a case of beer in there is funny, but man, brother, I love you and all this stuff, but you might want to not ask them if they have a collapsible bong. And then I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that in front of the kids, but it's a funny line, and they were cool, so.
Little kids on their phone going, bong.
Yeah. What did he say? Oh, he said if we had a bomb in there. Yeah, he was joking. It was a joke.
Mom, what's that?
Yeah. And he's
That's
probably
your father.
right. But I used it like the next day, and I still got laughs. So, oops.
It happened.
And the director was there. Well, the problem is that Tanner doesn't smile. He's not a happy camper. He's a serious kind of guy. I make him smile. I make him laugh. That's different because we're coworkers. But one of the directors and the other manager was like, "You need to smile more."
Tanner?
Yeah. Hopefully he'll be on the show one day. But, dude, like, why are you even having him over there? Just let me do it. This is no different than you guys sticking me out to direct traffic for like 3 or 4 hours. This doesn't bother me. I'm made for this. I'm going to tell jokes. He just wants them to go away. We work well together, and he's my strong silent type that stands behind me. He's taller. I'm bulkier. It works.
He's the straight man here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, he gets to be the Bud Abbott to your Lou Costello.
He kind of is. With the Laurel and Hardy, if like Stan Laurel was like tall and much younger and angry and rarely spoke, That's how it were. I never shut up, and like that one thing. Hey, we're gonna empty this thing to start a wedding. We got to get rid of everybody out of the pool. I'm gonna do all the talking if that's all right with you. No, I like it when you do all the talking because
One less thing.
he just stands there. He doesn't have to do anything. He's like insurance. And he's not muscular, he's not big, but he is tall and he has a piercing gaze. And that does help. Where I'm jovial. I'm not going to flip the switch until I absolutely have to, and then you're not going to like the other me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please exit the pool. In 5 minutes, we will be releasing the piranhas that we use to clean the pool after all of you are out.
Yeah.
Please get out of the pool. We've lost the Cayman.
Well, we had
For your own safety, please.
yeah, we had teenagers doing all kinds of stuff this weekend, and two of them in particular were causing a lot of mayhem. And even after, even afterwards, they were still causing mayhem. It's like, dude, we have eyes everywhere, and now we all know who you are and what you did, and you pissed off like 4 departments in the process. So we're looking for you now, Junior. And sure enough, they got called on like 3 times, and we were right there because, dude, this isn't new, and we know this place very well, and you do not.
That's right. If you guys want to do something extraordinary or exciting, what you need to do is you need to go over to where the clips are in. You need to see how long you can hang by your fingertip. Nobody else will be appreciative of it except for the security squad, but please give it a try.
Yeah. Granted, it can get boring, but on the other hand, during the day, there's so much to do, and you can just go under the tunnel, go across, and then you're in a North Mountain Preserve. There are so many hikes that you can go all over the place. You can even rent a mountain bike with the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I just say to tell them, look, why don't you go down and antagonize the horses at the corral?
Oh my God! The cops will love that.
The reports you'd be filing that day would be epic.
Oh my God!
How fast can you guys dodge? Do you remember the game Frogger? On the other side of this main drive here, this is 7th Avenue or 7th Street. Have a good time dodging traffic and get into the park over there. Enjoy yourself.
I got to Sunday. I worked 4 hours yesterday of overtime, and I still have the standing arrangement. I didn't go there today because I just ran out of time to get the aluminum cans from the golf course and to take their trash out. We have an agreement, and they don't want to take their trash out. And, dude, I don't mind because in one night, this is like the equivalent of collecting 3 months worth of cans because they're just thrown away. They don't recycle them. I feel bad about, like I was telling them, I need to acquire a landscaping outfit so no one questions me digging through the dumpster. As a security guard, I kind of have to do it nonchalant, or I have to do it in the, with disgust. Oh my God, these people! To pass it off. Otherwise, I go I go up to them and they're like, the homeless guy left. What? There was a homeless guy. Okay, why didn't you call us? Well, we were going to, but they proceed to tell me that a dude decided to strip down to nothing and took a T-shirt and stuck his legs through the armholes and then tied the rest of it up around his waist. And I think he jumped in the fountain from what they were saying, because there's a fountain right in front of Point in Time. And he swam in that for a while and urinated in it, apparently, according to them, which I'm glad nobody touches that fountain. I'm going to tell prop ops now, which I did, because we're going to need some muriatic acid and chlorine and shock it here. And then he got out of the fountain and he left. I'm like, well, dude, that is like something to call us about immediately right away. How are you guys doing? We're over 3 hours.
I am getting to that point, yeah.
My phone is almost dead.
Oh, why don't you plug it in when we're? And I've been falling asleep since the beginning, so I'm. Cool.
You were asleep for a little bit there. You were.
I'm sorry about that. I apologize.
That's okay. Don't. It was funny.
Long day. Sorry.
I
So
can
thank you
imagine.
for tuning in and like and subscribe. Body and Soul
Share.
Candle share and thank you from all of us here at the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge and yeah, stay geeky.
Stay geeky. Good night, everybody.
Absolutely.
Right. Play good. Play nice. If you can't play nice, don't get caught.
Don't get caught doing it. Didn't see it. I didn't do it.
What is it? What's the paranoia? Trust no one. No. Stay alert. Trust no one, and keep your laser handy.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Have a wonderful night.
Take care, sir.
Thank you.